So, all right, we are now live. In essence, basically, the reason why I wanted to start this stream and have people discuss it is because obviously we've had a Champions League campaign where we've had all the group stages now played. All the group stages are now finished. All the games in the group stages are now done. I would say it was an overall very fun campaign. Obviously, on this channel, I primarily cover Bayern, but I feel like all teams, all groups have had entertaining games. And while I do want to obviously talk about Bayern's group stage, I also want to discuss the other groups a little bit. So I guess, let me ask you first, Sad. Um, what did you think of Bayern's game in the group stage so far? Well, yeah. You seem to be there, kind of robotic right there. Very difficult to hear. Say that again. I can hear you now. I can hear you sighing now.
Okay. I can hear you now as well. So go on.
Yeah. So, what do you think of Bayern's group stage game?
The last one, or
All of
on the
them in
whole?
general, as a whole.
Well, I think we started in a pretty good fashion, and against Atletico, and that game I thought that especially and
Yeah, not really able to hear you right now, my friend. It does seem like the internet is not working that well for you. Oh, I don't know whether it's just the connection between us two. I'm not sure which one it is, but truly, truly. But yeah, all right. So since it's kind of difficult to hear you right now, it seems to be working like at certain stages, but then it just like goes off for a bit. So it's a little bit disappointing, but I mean, it is what it is. That's kind of the technicalities that you work with in that sense. Let's try it again, because I can kind of tell when it's like working and when it's not. So let me just speak a little bit and then maybe see once it starts working. You can start speaking again.
It isn't working. It isn't working.
I can hear you now.
Though I think it just come here and then. I mean, it's not constant. I don't know what's the problem. Connection is good. I was like streaming 2 games at the moment, but don't know what's happening now.
Oh well, that's unfortunate. What? Well, maybe another time, I guess. But I mean, in that case, let me speak a little bit on the Champions League campaign so far, because I've been quite enjoying it. I'll say that much. I've been very much enjoying it. Gladbach to me has probably been the most entertaining side in the Champions League. I know obviously Bayern has scored a lot of goals. Bayern has had some great games. For me, the game against RB Salzburg comes to mind, where I feel like that was one of the most entertaining games we've had. And I feel like the game against Atletico Madrid at home was one of the best games we've had in terms of just pure performance. But in terms of just the entertainment factor, I have to say, I think Gladbach has been the entertainers of the Champions League campaign so far. The way they just keep battling and keep trying to go forward, to keep trying to win. Even in today's game where they lost, they still, in my opinion, were awarded, because obviously they made it through to the next round. Now they probably feel hard done by, considering they could have been first in the group, but I feel like they'll be happy with their Champions League campaign and the fact that they can move forward with that. So just from that aspect, I quite like what I've seen from Gladbach so far, and I think personally, I think that in the future they can cause some serious damage. Now, I don't actually know the teams that they can possibly face in the next round, but I do think they can cause some serious damage, whoever they face. Obviously, as Bayern fans, we all know how dangerous, how threatening Gladbach can be. They're generally they're pretty much our bogey team for the most part. So I'm actually very much looking forward to seeing Gladbach's campaign, Gladbach's continuation in the Champions League. On the other hand, though, you have Leipzig. And you know what, with Leipzig, I will say this. Leipzig was fun. Leipzig was fun, right? That whole group was a ton of fun. That whole group was hilarious. Quite frankly, it was jolly. It was jolly, all right? You've had, obviously, Leipzig against Manchester United, Manchester United versus Leipzig. You had actually, let me just add Chupagoting to the stream. Hello. But yeah, Leipzig, they've had a very fun group with PSG and Manchester United. Chupagoting, how are you doing? What did you think of this Champions League campaign?
Hello. And
hello there.
The Atletico Madrid game was a masterclass by Hans Flick. And the following games against Lokomotiv and Salzburg, to be fair, we're lucky to not drop points. And then the second game against Atletico de Madrid, given the situation, pretty okay performance. And this last game, solid performance. I think that the 4-2-2-1 is definitely a better option than the 4-1-4-1 with Javi Martinez alone.
Okay. I mean, that's a very solid take. Also, first of all, welcome Mo as well. I'm still very much back and forth on what formation we should play, because obviously, we've had games playing the 4-1-4-1 or the 4-3-3, I guess, where I feel like we've looked good. But, it's quite telling that our predominant formation is the 4-2-3-1, the formation that we always fall back to, the formation that we 99% of the time play. So I definitely feel that the 4-2-3-1 is probably a formation that we're better suited to. Although I feel like, depending on the opponent, because obviously against Leipzig we started with a 4-1-4-1 really, but in possession it looked more like a 4-2-3-1. But then once Javi went off and you had Musiala come on, it very much changed. It changed very quickly to what I felt was a 4-3-3. So I do feel like it can work. We just kind of need to train him on, obviously, without having a winter break. That is quite difficult to do. Mo, what do you think of our Champions League campaign in the group stage so far?
So hi guys. I'd like to say I'm satisfied in one sense. It started off pretty well. Like we started with the bang really, with that 4-0 over Atletico. And then in the next games, I can't really remember the sequence of games, but then watching the game against Salzburg, it was really frustrating until Boateng got his goal. But like you can tell that once the team gets rolling, you're not really worried as much.
Yep.
But it's always just the initial trying to take off, I think you guys can tell whenever we start games, the first 5 minutes, the first 10 minutes, that feels like the most fragile part of our team. But overall, I think it's solid. It definitely can improve, but there's so many reasons for why it is the way it is. Short preseason, lots of fixtures, all that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like last season, I do feel, we're still very vulnerable in the first few minutes, but I definitely feel like, if you compare it to like last season, We were vulnerable for like the first 20 minutes, it seemed like. This season, it just feels like the first maybe 5 to 10 minutes. So I guess you could say we've improved in that aspect. Totally.
Yep,
Totally awesome. Raise the question, does this mean we're getting Barcelona? Now, I want Barcelona. I don't know about you two, but I want to face a Barcelona. Also, can I just say thank you, totally awesome. I really want to face Barcelona. I've always had this mentality. You got to face the best to be the best. And I feel like, yes, Barcelona are currently going through a difficult period, but they still have Messi. They still have the players. They might not be the team right now, but they still have the players. Who do you want to face? Now, I think out of the teams we can face, it's Porto, Barcelona,
Lazio.
I think Atalanta as well. I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, honestly, I'd want for Bayern to face the toughest opponent possible, really. And I'm not really sure that right now Barca is that opponent. The reason being is that, with the toughest opponents, you can really level up your game through, like, in the season. Like, you won't all of a sudden come up against an opponent that you're not really well versed against.
I agree. Chupa Goating, who would you like to face?
Well, Barcelona is the weakest, huh? And I want us to avoid Sevilla because we saw what happened last time. It was a tough game, a very defensive team. Atalanta, I would definitely enjoy Atalanta because they play offensive football and it would make a very fun game.
But also, let's not forget that Barca did have a much better Champions League run than their own league run. So, I mean, they're not performing to their best, but in Champions League terms, they're still pretty good.
That is very true. I think they were unbeaten, except when it came against the game against Juve. I think that was like their only loss. So they've had a very good Champions League campaign. Here's an interesting question, because I was looking at the game today, and I saw how Marc Roca was performing. And obviously, he's had one previous game in which he got a red card, but I felt like his performance today was very good. Are there any players that you felt like really made a name for themselves, really made a case to, say, start or play more regularly, that really shined in the Champions League campaign? Because obviously, if you look back, we had that one game against Atletico Madrid where we essentially played what I would call our C team. Were there any players in this Champions League campaign that really stood out to you?
I think Jamal Musiala is really something else. I mean, this kid is, lightning quick. Dribbling skills are out of this world, and he's also pretty mature. Like, in a sense of, he knows where to pass. He knows to keep his head up, pick out the right pass. So, I think this guy, is going to be a big part of our season.
Musiala was great, but he should play as a winger, I think. And Bonassa in the last game was better offensively, but very shaky defensively. So I still think Pavard is a better option than him. And Sané, another poor game by Sané. Really, he is the worst winger right now.
Interesting you say that he's a worst winger. Because if you look at, all right, I have a bias against Costa. I'll say that right now. I have a inherent bias against Costa. Whenever he's on the pitch, I'm like, I just can't forgive him for that performance against Real Madrid again a few years ago. So for me, the order right now would be Koeman, and then it gets difficult. Then it already gets difficult. I really like what I saw from Gnabry today. I will say that. I thought Gnabry today in that number 10 role looked very, very good. Probably maybe not his best performance of the season, but definitely one of his strongest performance of the season. And I feel like Sané's been a very great impact sub, but obviously, he's been quite lacking when it comes to other aspects. But it's quite interesting. We've had one winger that's really excelled, I feel like, and everyone else hasn't really worked that well.
Hello.
Sad, welcome back. But I also think that, like, considering the amount of
Yeah,
goals
can you hear
we've
me now?
scored, yes, we can.
Okay.
What did you think of the group stage?
Well, I think that we started off pretty good, especially against Atletico. I mean, we were pressing really well, and the reason behind it was Joshua Kimmich. I mean, he is the oppressor in our team at the moment, and without him, we can't cope. We can't go nowhere without. At that moment, we didn't have any injuries as well, and then we just. Started to go down, and especially after injury of Davis and the game, though it finished 6-2, but it just didn't look like that we were going to win by that margin. And I guess a few of those goals were quite a bit lucky, as they were out of stamina as well. And then we went to Atletico with literally our B team, or you call it C team, or whatever you would like. But well, the prospect.
I think you cut off there at the end.
Which I am in Musiala Amateur. Okay.
Yeah. You're sort of like cutting in and
Can you hear
cutting
me
out
now?
right now. Yes. A little bit difficult.
Okay.
at the
I
moment.
was talking about. Yeah, I was talking about Yamal Musiala.
The golden boy. The golden boy.
Yeah. I actually saw him in Bayern Amateur, and I just thought that why this kid isn't playing, because his feet was just too fast for those young little defenders there in the third division. But then when he came on against Schalke, I even posted on my social media that generations would remember with this picture, that generations are going to remember this guy. And now I think I can see a bit of a combination of Franck Ribéry and Lionel Messi in him, because he just tends to stick the ball to his feet. He doesn't lose the ball quite quickly. And whenever he come on the pitch, he makes us play so fast that it always looked that we are going to score and enter the box dangerously.
All right, fair enough. Well, Hussein, who just joined as well, let me ask you what you thought of this game and the group stage.
Yeah, so thank you for having me here, and yeah, so I think today, I don't think it was that bad. I think, I was happy to see, Marc Roca starting. Everyone wants to see him play, and, we've had Bruno Sarr starting. We have Leroy Sané, who's finally getting some more starts for the team, Douglas Costa. Unfortunately, Lewandowski, he couldn't start. We had triple goalting, best player we have, of course, Nana. But yeah. So I think the first half, wasn't the greatest. I think we did have some chances, but I think the thing is, in the second half we looked much better. I think I think Gnabry, kind of stood out a bit today. I think he last few games he hasn't been at his best, and today kind of did well. I think that was a good substitution by Hansi Flick, and yeah, I was happy to see Choupo-Moting get a goal. We've also had Nicolas Sule.
Yeah, I would like to talk a bit about Gnabry too. When you finish,
Yeah, no problem. I'm not gonna speak.
Yeah.
I'll speak about the
So
game first. The thing is,
yeah.
with the thing about Sule, I'm happy he got his goal. There's so many rumors about him nowadays. It's like, from Bild, it's like, his weight is not good, and like Hansi Flick doesn't want him to play because of that. And I'm just like, Nicolas Sule, he has to shut the haters down and everything. And he scored today. It was a good goal. The other thing with Sule that today I think it was much better than the last game against Leipzig, I think against Leipzig, sometimes when he was playing, there was a bit of like open spaces that kind of helped Leipzig score. But I think he was a bit better today. But I think another thing though is that I think we did good with our chances. But again, you have to how do you say, compliment their goalkeeper. I think their goalkeeper Guilherme, he was very good today. I think he was getting a lot of help because they're playing a 4-5-1. They were a bit more defensive than I think the last time we played them in back in Moscow. So, you know, yeah, our boys did very good. I was happy. Not the greatest first half in terms of how we played. I think we had good chances, but second half, good substitutions, a lot more energetic. And one more thing I want to say is Alphonso Davies so good today. For a left back,
Yeah,
nine successful
yeah.
dribbles, so good on the ground. With his duels and everything. What a player, man! In my opinion, best left back in the world, even after his comeback. What can you say?
Yeah,
That's not an opinion. That's a fact.
Yeah, yeah. You never know who's watching.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is a
That,
fact, but you
that,
never know who's watching. There's gonna be
that,
some Premier League fans, and they'll be like, "Oh, what's wrong with this guy? Oh, Robertson
oh,
is the best and stuff like that." But no,
oh no,
leave it to
no,
my
no,
man
no.
from Canada, my treble winner.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um,
I
yeah, I
would like
mean,
to come to that Gnabry point again.
sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, so when I think when Flick threw him in for Müller, at that moment I thought that this is not a very wise decision, considering his recent performances. And even I read a meme on Twitter. It was actually posted by Bayern and Germany official page. I don't know if you follow them. They actually usually post quite reliable news. But they said that Bayern have interchanged Coman and Gnabry's number, and Gnabry was given number 7.
Oh yeah,
So
I saw that meme. Yeah, yeah,
uh, you saw that? Oh, okay, yeah, they deleted it in the end.
yeah,
So, but when he threw Gnabry in, I thought that isn't going to work out. But Gnabry was today very very quick with the ball. I mean, from the right side, he was doing absolutely brilliant. And even the assist to Choupo-Moting and one shot, I think he took from long range, but it was unluckily saved by the keeper. The ball was swerving all the time. But I think that Gnabry today, this could be a what you say a very good confidence booster for him, and in the upcoming games he can deliver for us.
yeah, yeah. I wanted to say one more thing if you don't mind, and that was, I think today, I didn't. I think Bunassar he did all right, but I think the one thing I don't like about him compared to Alfonso is he looked a bit lethargic and a bit lazy when trying to track back. I don't know how you
Yeah,
guys feel
yeah,
about
yeah,
that, but that's how I was feeling.
yeah. No, yeah, this is because for me the most important thing in this flicks tactic is tracking back. There's nothing
Mm-hmm.
else. I mean, I am happy with Sane scoring 0 goals, providing a 0 assist, but just track back and press the defender. Now, if you see today, Boateng, I don't remember the minute or I don't remember the attacker, but Boateng once went 1-on-1. They made a brilliant through ball, and Boateng was actually 1-on-1 with the guy, but Davis came fleeing from behind and he took the ball away from that guy, and that was, I think, in the starting minutes of the first half. So that was the thing actually we were lacking, and that's why we were conceding so many goals. And this is the reason tracking back is the most important thing for fixed tactic, and I would like Sane to just track back, and if he can track back, we can stop many counters with his pace. And Sar clearly lacks that ability.
So, guys, I'd like to ask you, should Davis start ahead of Hernandez?
I think I want Davis to start, but I think right now the what I'm looking at is our center back pairing because we saw Boateng and Sula today. Today they did good, but against Leipzig, those kind of teams they were a bit shaky. Um, Alaba and Boateng, um, I think Alaba I can understand why Flick wants to play him because he's very good with the ball, and we see with Sule he's kind of making those overlapping runs to the front. Alaba does that sometimes, but I think I would rather play Lucas Hernandez at center back instead of left back, to be honest. Just because the center back pairing I think is going to be much better if you play the likes of Lucas instead of an Alaba, in my opinion.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with you. But it's a very interesting dilemma to have because you look at how good Davis was last season, but you also look how, let's call it, defensively fragile. Maybe that's the wrong word, but you look how compared to Lucas Hernandez. Lucas Hernandez is obviously better defensively. Davis is obviously better offensively. So you really have to like find a good balance. Do you play? I kind of made this joke before, but do you play Lucas and Pavard as centre backs? Do you play them as full backs? What really is the best option? What really is the best position for them to play? Because we've seen Pavard last season as a centre back, and I felt like he did really, really well. But now that Kimmich is permanently in midfield, he really has to be our right back because besides him we have Sa. But I guess competition is always good.
Yeah.
In any position, so that's whatever really. Flick is the one that will have that dilemma, not me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's for sure. But for me, the one issue I have, you speak of right backs, is like Pavard. Playing at center back and right back, he's going to be very good for us, obviously. But the issue I have is with Sarr because it's like you say. I would like to see Pavard play more at center back, to be honest. But now you have Sarr who has a 4-year contract, and I was thinking to myself, if we had spent a little more, we could have got Serginho Dest, who's doing very good at Barcelona. But, Barcelona are not in a good state right now. And we could have also got the likes of like a Max Aarons or Tarek Lamptey, who personally I think are much better than Bouna Sarr in my opinion. They're more energetic, always tracking back, very good offensively, good with the cross. And it's like, that's the one thing I think if we had someone else as a right back that wasn't Bouna Sarr, I think the center back issue would have been maybe solved. Maybe the only issue would have been just with David Alaba. Maybe he would be gone by now. Probably, I don't know. It's a bit of a hard one, but I just like I said, I just have an issue with Bouna Sarr with our right back issues really because I want to see Pavard play center back more, but you have Bouna Sarr who isn't as great obviously at right back, so you have to play Pavard there.
Fair point. I'll put a question out there then. What did all of you think about Marc Roca's Champions League campaign? Obviously he's had 2 games, but what did you all think of like his performances in the Champions League so far? I want to start with Chupa Goting. What are your thoughts on Marc Roca's performances?
Roca was great to be fair. His pass is very good, and the only thing about him is that he looks a little bit slow, and that worries about the defensive part of the game. But in the ball, he's great. Should definitely start in the weekend against Berlin.
Okay. Hussein, what do you think about Marc Roca's Champions League campaign so far?
Yeah, I think for the 2 matches he's played against Lokomotiv today. He's played against Salzburg. I think what I've seen is, I think it's the same thing where he's someone that is maybe yet to be fully adjusted to the system of Hansi Flick, because in Espanyol he played very deep, and Espanyol were a very defensive team. And that's where you see Marc Roca is dropping back sometimes to make like a 3 at the back with the fullbacks going up. But the thing with Marc Roca when he's in the back 3 is that he's very good with his passes, and he's always going to create chances. He's always going to start something, which is what I like. But yeah, I think defensively, he's not bad. I think he was very unfortunate against Salzburg when he got the red card. But regardless of that, still made a good display. But yeah, I think there's a lot of hope with him. Um, I think now we just have to see more of him play in the league, because so far I think he's done well. I think him getting more minutes in the league is going to be more beneficial for him. He's going to be a bit more suited to our system of play if that happens, and yeah, let's just see what happens. But I've enjoyed him so far. I've liked him so far.
Okay.
Yeah, Roca for me.
Yep. What do you think, Sad, about
Yeah,
Roca?
what I think is the boy's composure. I mean, he's so calm and cool on the ball. Even when two men are pressing him, he doesn't panic. He can be what you can say an attack setter for us. Well, it would sound weird at the moment, but that's what I've read so far. He Because of his passing ability, he can always thread the ball forward, and because of his composure, he doesn't tend to lose the ball quickly. And I don't know if Hossein was saying or Choupo-Moting, but he was absolutely on the spot. That when he drops in between the two defenders, it really gives us a solid shape. And I think the only thing he's lacking at the moment is effective pressing. He just tends to go in and just react a bit faster than he should, and in that meantime he just commits a foul here and there. But I think that that could surely be improved with the time going on, and especially when we have 1 or 2 months off till we have our next Champions League game. I think Flick should give him much more time than he was giving him before, and especially when Martin is injured now, I think it's a golden chance for Roca to prove his worth here.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I think I pretty much agree with what all of you have said, and that is, in my opinion, Marc Roca has looked very, very good. I've actually liked all of his performances. Even the one where he got a red card, I really thought he had a strong performance until that red card. The thing that really impressed me today wasn't his passing necessarily, because his passing I already thought was good. Like when I look at Marc Roca, he's always looked very good on the ball. But the thing that I personally really liked, and I didn't even realize that until I looked at the stats, was that he was the Bayern player, the second most running Bayern player after Sarr. Which usually you don't really associate his kind of the kind of midfield that he is with running a lot. But it really tells you the criticism that Flick gave to Marc Roca previously, which was that in his opinion Roca was sitting too deep. That really comes to light, because now he's playing further up top. Now he's playing maybe 5 to 10 meters further up top. It's not a tremendous amount, but it still means that you have to run a lot more. And you can see his game evolve. And my thing is also this with a lot of the newcomers. I'm very lenient when it comes to expecting great performances. For me, I want them to first of all integrate with the squad, but we also didn't have a a training camp. We didn't have a summer training camp, a preparation period per se. So I already expected these players not to perform at the level that you usually expect. But he hasn't gotten that many games. But I feel like every time he's played, he's been good. And obviously, you can't say that necessarily about the other signings that we've had, such as Sarr, such as Sané. I would go as far as to say even as as far as Choupo-Moting. I feel like all of them had bad performances alongside good performances too, of course. But the most consistent, perhaps with the lowest peaks, but I would also say with the highest baseline would be Marc Roca. And I definitely want to see him more. I definitely thought we would see him more with Kimmy's injury, with Toliso's injury, with all the injuries that we had. But I guess instead of Roca, we've seen a lot of Javi coming back into the team, and we've seen a lot of Musiala, obviously, who is the bright spark of the season so far, shine. So it's a balanced process, but I actually quite like what I've seen from him so far, and I fully expect him to get a lot more minutes after the admittedly small winter break. which Robert Bayern München C2 asked, how long is the Bayern winter break? It's a week and a half, so basically it's like 10 days, so it's not a long one. It's not like usually where it's like 2 to 3 weeks. This one is just a week and a half, so they don't have much to train, but I feel like that rest will really help them out. Now, here is moving kind of away from Bayern. I mean, we'll get back to Bayern, but moving away from Bayern, are there any other teams that really impressed you in this Champions League campaign that you might want to see their journey continue? I don't know who wants to start.
I would say just one name, and that is Radan Portugal Leipzig. I mean, I just had to admire the guy Nagelsmann. He just looks all the ordinary players so good. And you can take the example of Angelino and Kunku, and especially Marcel Sabitzer, given how much consistency is under him. And I think that Nagelsmann, this time, he can really, really help them. And this time, I think they can even progress towards the finals. Last time they reached semis, but now they can go towards the final as well.
Yeah, I agree. Leipzig was great yesterday against United, and Gradbach is in the round of 16, but it disappointed a little bit against Inter Real Madrid, and I hope they can get his form back until January. And what did you guys think about Gladbach?
I think Gladbach is one of those interesting teams you look at because they have good players. I think today they missed a few chances. Otherwise, it could have been a tight game against Real Madrid. And I think the other games against like Inter and Real Madrid when they played them before, they looked very good. But I think they were very unfortunate to not get the best results there. But yeah, I think the interesting about Gladbach though is the fact that what I find interesting is it's a team I'm gonna look at more now because there's always rumors going on, and we're one of those teams that are rumored with the likes of like a Florian Neuhaus and everyone, but I want to say another team that I'm interested to look at is two more teams. I think non-German clubs like Atletico and Manchester City. Atletico, they didn't do very good against what people like to say are Bayern C team, but it's one of those things where because of the two-legged draws, I think their type of defensive football is, something that might give them an advantage just because, we've seen it before. It works. It helps them a lot. And, I think nowadays they aren't as defensive as they used to be. Their attacking is a bit more fluid now. And yeah, it's a very interesting team to watch. João Felix is doing a lot better compared to last season. They've got Luis Suarez. No more Thomas Partey, but their midfield is still very good. And for Manchester City, I think the reason why I'm interested in looking at them is because they have Pep Guardiola, good manager, but sometimes he's a bit naive, and that kind of has cost Manchester City in the last few seasons in the Champions League. So I'm looking at them this year and thinking, how are they going to do? Because they're obviously doing so much better in the league, in the tournament than they are in the Premier League. So, it's going to be interesting to watch. Ferran Torres, very good talent. He's been superb for them. And then you have other players like Aguero. He's coming back. I think he's going to be very influential in their attack because they look so much more better with him than they do with someone like a Gabriel Jesus. And yeah, good midfield as well. They have the likes of De Bruyne, of course, one of the best midfielders in the world. And then their defense is very stable when they have Ruben Diaz and someone like a Laporte as well. So yeah, two interesting teams to look at. those are teams that are going to be well, not I wouldn't say necessarily a threat, but teams that can try to get a result if they were to play against us.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, let's see what happens. My favorites are of course our club Bayern to win, but it's knockout stages. Anything can happen. But, yeah.
Well, I would actually like to a bit disagree with Hussein here. And the reason for that is that on the City's point, and the reason for that is that City's game plan, I don't think that is suitable for today's football. I mean, the game has evolved over the years. That's what I think, and the game is now much more going towards the opponent and not passing the ball like what Guardiola generally do is
Yeah.
just keep the possession. And I think for Leipzig to be so much successful and get so much name on the page in like they were in like I would just say no time for them. I mean, they just came to the first eye of German football in 2015, and then you're saying that they are coming to the Champions League semi-finals within the
Yeah.
4 year span. I think that's absolutely incredible, and that's just because they actually are flowing with the structure of the football that is evolving in such a way that you have to attack the opponent. And the
Yeah.
other thing is that, I mean, no manager in the world has come up on the scene as an interim manager and win a treble with not even completing 12 months. And Hansi Flick has done that. And the reason for that is the same tactic. And I think the football has now changed. And for that reason, I want to take Man City in for my favorites for the Champions League until Guardiola is their manager.
Interesting. Nippon Sharma, first of all, welcome. So we were discussing, the teams that have impressed us so much, have impressed us in this Champions League campaign. But what did you think of Bayern's Champions League campaign, and which other team has impressed you so far?
Well, other than my own, first I'd like to say that I'm not a Bayern Munich fan. Am I still allowed on the street?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Your Champions League campaign has actually, you've actually impressed me.
Okay. How come?
Your players, a lot of them are really, a lot of people who don't follow the Bundesliga as much or Bayern Munich as much, they're rather underrated, if you ask me. For example, a lot of people underrate Joshua Kimmich. In my opinion, he's one of the best DMs in the world.
Yep. I can very much agree with you on that one. In my opinion, he's the best.
Yeah, mine too.
I'd like to argue that N'Golo Conte is up there with him, but yeah, we can agree to disagree.
No, man. No, man, you can't compare Conte to Kimmich, man. That's harsh.
Did you not see him in the 2000s? Okay, maybe right now, fair enough. But you have to watch Conte when he was at like Leicester City and his first season at Chelsea.
He got you there.
Hello,
Yeah,
I'm here.
yeah, because then Kimmich was playing at right back, and he wasn't even a regular starter for Bayern when Conte came in Chelsea.
Wait, was Philip Lahm still at Bayern Munich when Conte was at Chelsea?
No, that was his last season, I think, and even Kimmich used to get chance even under Carlo Ancelotti, but he was preferably a right back for Bayern, and until Hansi Flick came and he just made him sit there in the midfield, and then the world started to come to know that Joshua Kimmich is a real talent, and I'm the same cases with Leon Goretzka at the moment. People just think that he's in that level. But I think that Goretzka is.
He is world class, in my opinion.
No. I think he's heavily underrated at the moment. That's what I'm saying, and I'm saying that he will be regarded at the same status as Joshua Kimmich in 3-4 years. And I think I'm hopeful that injuries don't come in the way, and I'm hopeful that he will show the world that he's also a real gem of the German football.
I think I think I should be. I think I'm going to say this. I don't know if you agree, but he is Schweinsteiger's heir. He is Bastian Schweinsteiger's heir.
That's very interesting because
Yeah.
a lot of people always compare Kimmich with Lam.
Yeah.
Or are you talking about Goretzka here?
I'm talking about Goretzka.
Goretzka, okay. Then yes, I can sort of agree with you, although I think a more apt comparison would probably be good question.
Stefan Effenberg, maybe.
Tony Cruz.
No,
Lothar Matthäus.
I was thinking Lothar Matthäus, but Lothar Matthäus was just too talented in all aspects, whereas Goretzka, I feel like he has his strengths and he also has his weaknesses. Whereas Lothar Matthäus, I feel like was just a complete package. So I actually don't know who to compare him to.
Tony Cruz.
Well, I think I see glimpses of Stefan Effenberg in him, in Goretzka.
Interesting.
I've never heard of Stefan F. I've never heard of him.
He was a very good midfielder, very top midfielder. He was
Yeah.
our captain.
And he was a very passionate one along with Oliver Kahn.
Yeah. He was our captain.
Oh,
in
Oliver
2001.
Kahn. Oh, I loved him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Goretzka has got the same mentality as Kahn.
Yeah.
They're both very serious.
But
players.
they're two different positions. Goretzka's a midfielder. Kahn is a goalkeeper.
No, I am talking about mentality, not about the game. I'm talking about mentality. The way he feels towards Bayern.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I think some people they like to say that Stefan Effenberg is like.
Yeah, you guys
More
were talking
team
about Atletico and Thomas Partey. I'd like to say that Atletico probably got the better deal.
Really?
Think about it. They're first in the league, where Thomas Partey is now. They're 15th.
I mean, yeah, sure.
That was quite a bad time. I mean, yeah.
You know, I don't want to laugh too much because when you're talking
Are there any
Arsenal,
fans who support? Am I the only person who doesn't support Bayern Munich in this chat? By the way.
I think so.
Yep. I think so too.
Wait, Nippon, which club do you support again?
Chelsea.
Oh. You see,
Oh,
I was saying this earlier that there's going to be like a Premier League like Chelsea fan. You know, they're going to be questioning what we say.
Nah,
Oh, there was another.
I knew right away you supported
There was
Chelsea just by
another
the
Chelsea
fact
fan
that
in
you
this.
said Kante.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I knew right away.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite team in the Premier League?
Nobody.
Nah, I don't really.
Same here.
support-
I used to like Liverpool, but not now.
Yeah, I don't really support a team from the Premier. No.
Why
Maybe
do you guys
Leeds
hate the
United is
Premier League so
interesting
much?
there, and
No.
I-
We don't hate the Premier League. We're just.
we don't hate
it's
it.
just, you know, Bayern is our club. You know, we
yeah,
love to
we
watch
just
the
don't
team.
watch it.
Oh, there's so much There's so much we have in a lot of fans of the Bundesliga and the Premier League have in common. Like a lot of Premier League fans don't watch the Bundesliga. A lot of Bundesliga fans don't watch the Premier League.
I mean,
Well,
that is
I
true.
won't say.
Although I do watch pretty much every game that I can find. I just don't really care about who wins and who loses. But just to kind of get back, considering you are a Chelsea fan, what do you think of Chelsea's Champions League campaign so far in the group stage?
Oh, better than I thought we'd do, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I thought we'd finish second.
And-
I thought we'd finish second in the group and get you guys again in the round of 16.
Okay, you want to take revenge?
No. I just thought that's what would happen.
Oh, okay.
I know you guys would.
Okay,
beat us.
I would like to question about Olivier Giroud. What do you make of him this season? Do you rate him in top 5 strikers in the world?
No, not in the world. No, not in the world. Probably in the league. Probably in the league right now.
Because for me, I mean, whenever I saw him, well, I haven't seen him that much. I mean, but whenever I saw him, he generally delivers. And Timo Werner, I mean, he's for me a bit overrated, and I think Giroud must get a chance much often than he's getting at the moment. Just
I want
because
him to
Timo
start
Werner has
against
been signed.
Everton.
What?
I want him to start against Everton on the weekend.
Oh, Olivier Giroud.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Timo
saying. I
Werner
mean,
can play
the
out
hype,
wide.
the hype created around Timo Werner is just too much, and because of that hype, Olivier Giroud isn't getting the chance which he deserves. That's what I'm saying.
He is 7. Have you not seen his France record? He's 7 goals away from beating Thierry Henry's record.
Yeah, and especially regarding the Premier League style of play, Giroud is much more suitable to that than Timo Werner. I mean, Timo Werner is a player which generally tends to succeed in the tactical battles where you just sit back and what you would mention as counter-attack football. But in Premier League, there is just 70% is the crossing game, and for that you would need much more physicality and much more height and much more endurance within the 18-yard box. And I think Giroud provides that much more than Werner. And Giroud is much more clinical in front of goal than Werner. Well, Werner also has his aspects to the game. I mean, he also has some traits which Giroud doesn't possess. But and that's generally my opinion that Giroud must get much more played than what he's getting at the moment.
I have a YouTube channel now. I'm doing a video on either Friday or Saturday for the preview of the Everton game. And once I start,
which channel?
I have a YouTube channel.
Kindly mention the name.
Nippon Sharma. It's exactly what you're seeing on the.
Okay. So you do previews regularly or just here and there?
I've only missed. There was a point I used to do live streams only, but I feel that doing live streams straight away isn't the way forward. So I didn't know. But for a long time, I also didn't know how to record on the Mac. But now I do. So from now on, I'll be uploading as much as I can.
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
so I would just ask one last question to you, and then I'll hand it over to the admin. So, what do you think if Bayern face Chelsea in quarterfinals? Who would win?
You guys, I'm being realistic here. We're just not good enough to compete with the big boys yet.
Even with the signings of Ziyech and Thiago Silva, Werner, and even with the inclusion of Pulisic and all the things that have been around Chelsea Football Club this season, they have been, highly rated.
You guys have,
and especially being the Premier League contenders, especially being the Premier League contenders, do you still think that Bayern would beat you easily? I mean, with a heavy margin.
Okay, I'm not going to put a flat out yes we will win, but I think this will go to penalties.
Okay, yeah, I am of the same opinion. I think that this time must be would be a much more closer thing than this was last season. Unless the Flick just comes up with something magical. So yeah, that was it.
Yeah, right. But I was I mean, like your game against Barcelona. I mean, it was so. I was lost. I mean, like
It was so
the way some Barcelona.
You seem to be breaking up there.
Yeah, I think he
sorry,
was talking about Barcelona. He was talking about Barcelona. Huh?
You still there?
Yes, Dad. Sorry.
All
You were
right.
talking about Barcelona, I guess.
little too loud. So yeah, I'm okay now.
Okay, just to go back to
Okay.
your point, you were mentioning Barcelona and the game that Bayern had against Barcelona.
No, I think he was talking about that Barcelona is Bayern's possible opponent in the round of 16 again.
Ah.
And what would we do with them with Barcelona being in this form?
I see.
So what I was
and that's-
saying was, excuse me, on Bayern Fan TV, I am going to be transferring from my computer, sorry, from my mobile to my MacBook, if that's okay.
Sure. Well, we kind of have to talk about the groups, the games that happened in the groups, because I kind of want to talk about. Obviously, we talked a little bit about Gladbach, we talked about Bayern, we talked about Leipzig. There's one German team that we haven't talked about, and that is Dortmund. Now, Dortmund, they came first in their group. They've had the youngest Champions League debutant ever in their history with Yusuf Moukoko, who personally I rate very, very highly. I think he's going to be the best player in the world in 4 or 5 years. But what did everyone, did any of you watch Dortmund's Champions League campaign? Did any of you watch their games? What did you think? Which players stood out to you? Chupa Goting, I want to start with you. If you watched them, did any of them stand out? Did you enjoy their games? So on and so forth.
I watched some games, and of course, the best Dortmund player was Haaland, no doubts about that. And
Yep.
Dortmund, I don't
You
think
guys will have seen me on 2 screens right now because I'm changing.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Dortmund, Favre is not good enough for this club, and I think that they can't go more, progress more than the quarterfinals, because unless Haaland is very inspired, but other than that, it's a very young team, inexperienced, and yeah, other than Haaland, I thought that Giovanni Reina was doing well, and I think that Dortmund are not title contenders. I don't know about you, but Leipzig is more threatening to win the Bundesliga title than Dortmund is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I actually made a video about this. Why I don't think that Dortmund are title contenders for at least for the Bundesliga. And for me, the whole reason for it is their mentality. They also don't really have the leadership. They do have the leadership in the fence, but I also feel like they lack the leadership up front. And usually you'd say, well, they've got Marco Reus, who is essentially their captain figure. But Reus, he really doesn't participate that much for them anymore. Now, he played yesterday, hit the post and whatnot, but like 99% of the times he doesn't play, either because he's injured or because the other players are now ahead of him. And you can't really look at a player like that and be like, yeah, you are the person that we look up to when everything isn't working. Rice is a great player, but he's not that standout player, that player that you look up to, like, we need a spark, and he can provide it. Whereas in defense, I do feel they have that. Leipzig, you could also make the argument, they're a very young team. They don't really have that leadership quality, but I feel like they are a much more cohesive team. They're not reliant on individuals. Where with Dortmund, you kind of are reliant on Haaland to perform. Despite the fact that he is so young, you're kind of reliant on Sancho to perform. I mean, Gio Reyna, has had a great season so far, but he's still only very young. The first season, I think his first season at a professional club. Before that, he was playing in America, I think. So, you have all these players that, they're performing, but because they're young, they're inexperienced. They don't have this consistent leadership figure that they can look up to. And that's why I don't think that Dortmund will win anything. But I do think on any given day, on a good day, they can be dangerous for any team in the Champions League, whoever they face. And they're a cup team. They really are a cup team, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And for me, this Dortmund side, I mean, I haven't seen such a perfect Dortmund side in 4 or 5 years. I mean, it's a beautiful blend of experience and the youth, considering the likes of Hummels and Lucas Piszczek, and then coming to the youth, I mean, Haaland and Gio Reyna. He sparked a little bit last season, Gio Reyna, but this season, I mean, he's just come up to the. He's just shown that how much amount of talent he's got, and for me, I think they should challenge Bayern much more for the title. With this team, especially after so many years, they have got such a good striker in Haaland, and well, I have to admit that certainly the amount of football I have watched in my life, I haven't seen a striker like him. I mean, for his stature, his pace is just incredible. I mean, so tall, so big, and he's got so much strength, and on top of it, he's got pace. And so I think that even if with this team, if Favre can't compete even with Leipzig, I mean, he isn't competing with Bayern for the title at the moment. They are, I think, on third or fourth. So I think they should push a little bit more harder in Bundesliga. And I think that if Favre can't do well with this team, then I think it's time for him to go home, and Dortmund should look up for another manager. But so far, the games which I have watched, and I did watch the game yesterday. I think it was against. I just forgot the name. I think it was a Russian club. But yeah, I mean, they have now the ability that they believe in themselves. Previous years, Dortmund didn't do this. When they conceded like 1 or 2 goals, they started to. I mean, just lose confidence, and in the end, they would eventually end up losing like even 6-0 or 5-0 coming into the games against Bayern. But this season, and especially half of the last season, when Erling Haaland came in, I think they just stand up as a team and try to fight till the end of the game. And yeah, I mean, they just shift the gear when they want to. If you just see the game yesterday, I mean, they were down and out, but they came back just because they were pushing as a team. So I think that Favre has to do much better with them. He's just so lucky to get such a good squad, and I think at the moment, if there is not a lack of proper support and proper connection between the management and the players of the Dortmund, I think they would be the best team in the world, and I would rate their squad a bit higher than Bayern Munich, considering what we saw in Bayern in absence of Kimmich and Davis. I mean, we were so vulnerable. So I think that Dortmund can come in at the moment if Favre can put up a little bit more effort.
So, guys, I would like to ask you guys, who can upset Bayern? Is it Lazio, Atalanta, Sevilla, or Barcelona, or even Porto? Who do you think can damage Bayern more?
I'll tell you one thing. Barcelona will be looking for revenge. But I don't think they'll be able to do it.
I mean, they can look all they want; they won't find it. So that's pretty much a done deal.
At the moment, I mean, at the moment, everyone's looking toward Barcelona, so I don't think they were actually looking to take the revenge, considering their form and what's going in through their club. I mean, everyone's just looking at the Barcelona to get them and easily steamroll them and just go to a quarterfinal. So I totally disagree with you.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think they'll make it past the last 16, Barcelona.
I mean, the thing with the Champions League, it always depends on who you obviously face. I don't know who they could face, but if they don't face a team that is necessarily that strong, then that's a different story. They could very well make it all the way, depending on who they face. But I will say I wanted to ask this question, like just a quick fire question. Just basically just list me your 3 names. Your 6 names, I should say. And the thing that I'm asking you, I just want to go through everyone quickly, and then later on I want to get more details. Just list me the names. So what I want from all of you is the 3 teams that have impressed you the most so far in the group stages, and the 3 teams that have impressed you the least. So I want to start with Chupa Goting. Which are the 3 teams that have impressed you the most, and the 3 teams that have disappointed you the most?
So, okay, starting with the 3 things that have impressed me the most. So, starting with Atletico de Madrid. Yeah, they lost 4-1 to Bayern Munich, but let's be honest, that was a brilliant performance by Coman and Tolisso. So, apart from that, they have been great in La Liga and in Champions League. Atletico de Madrid, Leipzig, they look great, and Nagelsmann can surely upset any team of Europe with his tactics. And everyone was talking, now without Timo Werner, Leipzig won't pass the group stage, but they did so. And lastly, look out for Juventus. Yeah, they won against Barcelona. Yes, it's Barcelona. It's a terrible team, but still, that was an impressive win, I should say. And now going on to the things that impressed me the least, I'm going to start with PSG. PSG was terrible against Leipzig in Germany and in France as well. And apart from Neymar, PSG is a pretty average team. So second, Real Madrid. Terrible performances for Real Madrid in the group stage and in the La Liga as well. And they were lucky to qualify us in first place. Very, very lucky. And the last team, yeah, I don't remember anyone now, but let's say Manchester City. I don't think Manchester City was really impressive in the group stage, and looking to their form in Premier League, I think that they can't threaten Bayern really, because Pep Guardiola, look, I don't think he's that good as a manager. Even Ribéry said about him, he's too rigid. He doesn't give liberty for the players to express themselves, and I don't think he was that great in Bayern. And now in City, he is doing some strange things. So that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Shobogoting. Who wants to go next, Sad or Nippon?
I'll go next.
Okay, so let me know the 3 teams that have impressed you the most this Champions League campaign, and the 3 teams that have impressed you the least.
The most, Borussia Mönchengladbach, RB Leipzig, given the fact that they're without Timo Werner, and RB Salzburg.
Okay. And the teams that have impressed you the least?
Real Madrid, Barcelona, and third one, Manchester United. I honestly thought that Man United would show more passion and more hunger, given the fact that they have good players like Rashford and Pogba and Martial.
I mean, that's a fair evaluation to make, I guess. I can definitely see why those teams would impress you and those teams would not impress you. Sad, moving over to you.
Yeah.
Who are 3 teams that have
Yeah,
impressed you?
so as I've already mentioned, Leipzig would surely be the number 1 for me, and following would be Borussia Mönchengladbach, and after that I'll say Atalanta, because last season was their debut season, and no one was counting them, and everyone was saying that they were just lucky to get to that much far. But this season they again proved, even in a tough group with Liverpool, Ajax, that they are quite much capable, and I think they have impressed me quite a bit. And now coming to the teams which has left me actually shocked, and first of all I would say Inter Milan. I mean, Inter should have done better. This is just disgusting from them. They should have competed. They should be in round of 16. I don't know how they are not. And secondly, obviously Atletico Madrid. For Atletico, I think they should be. They should have gotten more points than what they are sending at the moment. And the third one should be PSG. And the reason for that, I mean, the attack consisting of Neymar, Mbappe, and all other stuff. I think on any day, a decent team would beat them. Even a normal team that is quite a bit passionate on that day would easily beat them. And I think PSG should not get this much rated, which they usually are.
Okay, fair enough. Just want to say a welcome to Hussein and Nabil D. Nabil D, the question we're currently asking is, what are the 3 teams that have impressed you so much in this Champions League campaign, and what are the 3 teams that have impressed you the least so far?
What do you mean? 3 or 3? I should say about 3 teams. Is that the question?
Yeah, what are the 3 teams that you think have been the most impressive, and what are the 3 teams that have been the least impressive?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nabil, and I'm from Morocco, Casablanca. Do you know where that is?
Yes.
Yeah, I know Morocco. Yeah, Raja Casablanca, Wydad Casablanca, and Raja Casablanca.
Yeah,
I really like your ultras, man. Yeah, I really like your ultras.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, we won our Club World Cup in Morocco in 2013.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've been there. I tried to go to the stadium to, of course, encourage Bayern. Even if I'm from Casablanca, I was with Bayern. So to tell you how much I am for Bayern. But I had no chance to get a spot there. It was too expensive. Only places on black market, and it was so expensive. So I went to Marrakesh, but I saw it on TV anyway. Huge screen outside on the street. So, but it was okay. It was nice. Well, the 3 to answer the question, the 3 most impressive teams. I would go by the figures first. I would say that the best figures in this how do you call it, group phase, or how do you call it, this
group stage, the group
campaign.
Stage.
Yeah, group stage. When you look at the figures, you notice that Bayern Munich is one of the teams, the three teams that has the most points. They have six, six, 16 points, I think. Yeah, 16
Yep.
points, and has scored 13 goals. Just under Bayern, you have City, and I think it's Chelsea. They have also 16 points, but they have only 12 goals. So we have one goal more. I mean, difference, goal scored minus goal that you get.
Yep.
So if I talk figures, then it would be Bayern, then City, and Chelsea.
Okay.
And when you talk about the less impressive, are you talking about even teams that are not in the run anymore, or
No, just the teams that you thought would be better. The teams that you thought would do better, play better, be better, maybe come first in their group, but they came second, or come second in their group, but they came third. Which team disappointed you?
Well, the one that disappointed me is Atalanta, as I thought that it would have been better because they were in a good shape last year, and they were having a really good performance. Actually, last year it was the team that was scaring me last year, but they lost against PSG. I know that it was because they were really tired, and they lost one of their best player at the 16th, yes, at minute 60. That was awful for them. But I thought they would be better this year. But you never know. Maybe in April, March, February they will be better. We will see. But I was disappointed at that point. And what else? Liverpool, but I'm not really disappointed about Liverpool. I think they just had a bad time with these injuries, but now they're coming back very strong. So they did not even disappoint me. But I was disappointed, by Borussia Mönchengladbach for this last game tonight. I thought they could be better because they are playing very well. But I think experience of that kind of stage of Champions League were a lack for them, because it's been a really long time that they haven't played this Champions League. And what's the last one? I didn't have enough time to think about the answers actually, but it's okay. I'm gonna find my third team. I would say.
I mean, that's fine.
Is it okay?
That's fine. That's fine. I mean, I'll ask the question to Hussein then. Maybe give you some time to think of a third team that was disappointing. Hussein, which three teams would you say were the most impressive, and which three teams would you say were the least impressive in this Champions League campaign?
So the first three teams, this is excluding Bayern, of course, because obviously that's a given. We've been very good this campaign. I'd say that, I think the German clubs, in Gladbach, in, Leipzig, they've been very impressive. The style of play, in those teams is very unique compared to the others this season, and there's a reason why they've gone through. It's because the way they play is very good. People will argue that, compared to teams like a PSG and like a Real Madrid, maybe they don't have the best players, but the way they play is very good. Like I said before, Gladbach, they were unfortunate to not get some of the results in the matches, but they still qualified. And same goes for Leipzig. They turned it around, because we saw the defeat at Old Trafford. It was very bad for them, but even with some of their players suspended and injured, they turned it around. beat United comfortably. I think United's 2 goals they scored, they should have not been goals in my opinion. So they did very well. They knew their weaknesses, their opponent's weaknesses, and Leipzig, Gladbach were very good, and another team I'd say that are very good, to be honest, is probably between maybe Chelsea. And I'm not a big fan of Chelsea Football Club, obviously, and but I can say that they've done good. Of course, the opponents they have aren't that great, but it's the fact that I think what I've noticed before with Chelsea compared to last season is sometimes they haven't taken much control of the game last season, but now they're taking control of their matches a lot better. Controlling the game, doing well with their passing and everything. Some good goal scorers in their team like Giroud. I don't really rate Werner, but he's scored some goals as well. But yeah, I'd say Leipzig, Gladbach, Chelsea, those were good teams so far. And the 3 teams that have been very disappointing for me is I think the most basic one for me is Ajax, because I feel like Ajax had a very good chance of making it to the round of 16, but they haven't been performing very well in Europe in the last 2 seasons. Because we've seen the squad they've had. They've sold many great players, and there's not much they can do about it. But I think with the talent they have, they could do much better. Another team I've been a bit disappointed by is it's a very tough one. I'd say maybe I think Inter Milan is another one, because Inter Milan, they were finalists of the Europa League, and to go from being finalists in the Europa League to then being 4th place in your group, which it is a tough group, but I think 4th place is not good at all, because you look at some of their matches. They drew today against Shakhtar. They beat Gladbach, by it was 3-2. They had a poor performance against Real Madrid in their second time they played at home at San Siro. They tied to Shakhtar, tied to Gladbach. It's not really good from them. I expect more, and this is also because not just because they were finalists in the Europa League last year. They are 2nd place in Serie A right now, so with that, you kind of expect them to do better. And so those 2 teams, Ajax, Inter, they haven't been very good. And another team I've been disappointed in, I think this is a hard one, but I'll just say I'll probably just say Manchester United. I mean, it's a hard group. I think a lot of us might have expected them to be between 2nd or 3rd, and obviously that happened. They are 3rd place, so they're going to Europa League. But the thing with Manchester is the fact that you had 2 good performances in the beginning, and then you just go down from there. So it's it's a bit. For some people, they'll be very happy that United is going back to where they belong, as people say. But still poor from them. The start they had was good, and boom, just goes down from there. So yeah.
Yep. You know what? I mean, I haven't given any names. If we exclude Bayern, I think for me, the 3 teams that impressed the most. Kind of funny that I'm saying this, but Red Bull Salzburg. I thought they played really well, even against us, against Atletico as well. Obviously, they didn't progress necessarily, but I thought they played very, very well. They're definitely, they're definitely a team that I've been watching a lot, just because of the players that they have and the development, with with those specific players. Watching those players develop and seeing how they perform in the big stage was really impressive. Then another team that I thought was very impressive is Chelsea. Chelsea have actually, I hate to say this, but Chelsea have actually looked very, very good both in the Premier League and the Champions League, and they're definitely a team that I don't think they'll win the Premier League by any chance. I do think that with the right draw they can make it relatively far in the Champions League too. Because the thing that impressed me the most, I think it was the away game versus Sevilla. if it was either the away game or the home game against Sevilla, where, you know, Sevilla, we all know how difficult they are to break down, how difficult they are to play against. And I can't remember which game it was exactly, but they played Sevilla, and if I remember correctly, it was like a 3-0 victory. And I was like, whoa, that's impressive. That is very. I might have gotten the figures wrong, but like it was something along those lines.
4-0. It was 4-0.
Yeah, 4-0 away. 4-0 away.
Away.
I just thought that's insane, because we all remember how we played against Sevilla, and that's us with our team that likes to score goals left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And I saw them beat Sevilla, and I was like, okay, they're dangerous. And then I think the other team that really impressed me in this campaign, probably Gladbach. They really have this attacking drive. They really emphasize youth. You know, if you think of a young team, you really think of like a gung-ho team, a team that will, you know, try and score 5 and probably concede 3 at the same time. And that's Gladbach. You know, they didn't really have the experience. Yes, they're the only Bundesliga team, the only top Bundesliga team, I should say, that didn't lose a star player in the summer. Every other top Bundesliga team, you know, Bayern, we lost Thiago. Dortmund, I can't remember who they lost, but they lost. It was their right back, Hakimi. You've got obviously Leipzig, they lost Werner. Gladbach was the only top Bundesliga team that didn't lose a key player, but you can definitely tell that they're still very inexperienced. I feel like if they had a little bit more experience there, someone that's been there, someone that's done it, you know, if they just had, like, say, one Europa League or one Champions League winner in their squad, I feel like they definitely could have gotten first in that group, because at all times they were leading. So Gladbach is definitely, despite the fact how close it was, they were definitely very impressive. They took the fight to all the teams, and they looked very, very strong. Now, in terms of the 3 teams that disappointed me or impressed me the least, I'll start with PSG. PSG was poor. Like, I expected a lot from PSG. Like, I do follow PSG quite a lot, to be completely honest. I do watch the French league quite a lot. But they really had a rocky start to the season, you know, with their relatively short break, and then with half their squad having COVID, and then with the red card to Neymar and I think Di Maria as well, when that one game happened where they were banned for 4 games. And then, like, Neymar, you know, he gets injured, goes on the international break, and then gets injured for Brazil as well. Comes back, plays like 5 minutes of Champions League, and then gets injured. So they really had a rough campaign so far in this season. And, you know, despite that fact, they're still through to the next round. But in terms of their players stepping up, they have really looked poor. And it's not just them. I feel like a lot of the top teams that went far in their Champions League campaign last season have looked poor this season. And obviously, you know, a lack of summer break, a lack of rest is all, you know, that's a good reason. But that doesn't change the fact that I've not been impressed at all from PSG this season so far in the Champions League. The second team that I think of is probably, I want to say Manchester United, but like, I didn't expect much from them, and then they impressed me, and then they let me down. So I don't know whether I should count them, because I didn't. If they were ended up third, I would have said okay, whatever. But because they raised the expectations so high, expectations that I didn't even have for them, and then they dropped it all the way down, I'm really in this like spot where I'm like, do I knock them down for that or not? So I think I'll just ignore them and say Real Madrid. Real Madrid, they've had a good game today, and you know they got bailed out recently against Gladbach, but I didn't think they were good. I didn't think they looked good against Inter, against Gladbach, against Shakhtar. They did not look good. For a team that has all this experience, for a team that has never failed to progress from the Champions League group stage, they did not look good, and they really left it to the last day. But I guess, you know, them leaving it to the last day and then succeeding just shows you the kind of experience, the kind of Champions League heritage, footballing heritage, as Jose Mourinho would say, that they have. And then the third team is very difficult to say. I can't actually think of a team. You mentioned Ajax. Yes, I could see it. I could definitely see it, but I almost don't blame them. Atalanta, perhaps. Inter, a good shout. Yeah, you could mention any of those teams, I guess, and those would be my third. But there are too many teams that have just been poor, and I feel like this really just shows that like the lack of summer break, the lack of break in general, really played a role this season, and really is playing a role. Obviously, we notice it with Bayern as well, with us getting injuries left, right, and center every week. But we'll see how it all progresses after the admittedly short winter break. Yeah, we've talked about teams. And I kind of want to.
I would like to add something here.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, as you said that there have been so many teams that have been poor, and I would like to address that. You just said the limit to 3. I mean, had it been 4 or 5, I would have included Manchester United for sure. I mean, United were in a position from where they absolutely murdered themselves. I mean, not even in a single thought I even had that United would go out. I was even considering them to be on the top of the group. But yeah, Manchester United being Manchester United, I mean, they just totally lost it in the end. And the moment where we were talking about a big upset happening and PSG going out from the group stages, they just totally reversed the situation. And United, I think, and they just showed absolutely poor performance, and they just didn't know that if they were even a unit on the pitch or not. And I think that they should come out now in the Europa League with some stance, and they should try to win it.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, I have my third disappointing team.
Yeah. Okay.
It's Manchester United. Well, when I give my impressive teams and disappointing teams, I'm talking about a trend that started last year and that is following this year. It's not about the name of the team or whatever. For instance, for example, Real Madrid was in a bad trend, and it doesn't shock me to see that this year they're not the Real Madrid of 2 years ago or 3 years ago. They have some problems there. Some of their players are most of the time injured, and they have new guys on the pitch. They are still learning this experience, so it doesn't shock me that they're not that good. But still, they are there, and they finished first. Some players have the experience, so they're in the level I was waiting for them. But regarding the trend from last year to this year, this is why I say I was disappointed by Atalanta, and I was disappointed by Mönchengladbach because Mönchengladbach, they tried to have a good season in Bundesliga last year, and they really started very good this year in the Bundesliga, and they really also started very good in the Champions League, having like this draw against Real Madrid, winning with the high scores against what's this Russian, Ukrainian, I think, team. When they won with the high scores. Okay, forgot the name of this team. But then they lost this one, and I said it's because of the experience. And the last team, the third team, is Manchester United, and then I'm not talking about the trend, but I'm talking about the potential. I think that Manchester United has a really great potential to win, to have best picture on this stage, but they just go up and down like an alternative way of progressing. Sometimes they win, and then they lose, they disappoint, then they're good, then they lose. So I found my 13 minutes it's Manchester United because they can really do great games. They did it against Paris Saint-Germain. They also did it against Leipzig, winning 5-2, and but against Paris Saint-Germain, again, at home, they lost. That was something really disappointing for me.
Okay.
So,
All right.
that was my first
Fair
thing.
enough. Fair enough. Nick George raises an interesting question. He basically, well, an interesting point, I should say. He says that Real Madrid are heavily reliant on Ramos, and in games that he hasn't played, they lost 4-1, 2-0, 3-2, 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. And it's a very interesting point to raise because, you know, there are plenty of teams that are reliant on one player, but I don't think there is a team that is as reliant on a single player than Real Madrid with Ramos. Now, this actually leads us perfectly to the next question that I was going to ask, which is, which player has impressed you the most so far in the Champions League campaign? I feel like this will be probably the last question that I'm going to ask. So I want to start with Nippon. Which player has impressed you the most so far? Which player has impressed you the least? Let us know if you're still there. Doesn't seem like he's currently here, so I'll switch over to Hussein.
Yeah, it's been a very good, interesting campaign from a lot of the players. Injury aside, I think the matches Kimmich has played in, he's performed brilliantly, and in my opinion, he is the best midfielder in football right now. Even with his injury, he's still that good. Other players that have impressed me, maybe you've got players like this is a very tricky one, but I think Angelino's been good. I think players like Bruno Fernandes has impressed a bit. He's been good as well, and I think other players like it's a bit of a hard one, but you've got players like from Gladbach, like Alassane Playa, who's done very well. You've got players, like there's a lot of players. Honestly, it's very hard for me to name, but for me, honestly, I think the best player so far has probably been between actually it's probably Manuel Neuer.
Interesting. I thought you were gonna say Coman there.
No. I think he's probably like top 3 in my opinion, or something. I don't know. Like it's a hard one to choose because I'm thinking of players in my head right now. And it's like, there's always quality players in this tournament, but I think this group stage, to be honest, hasn't been the greatest in terms of the quality of matches.
Yep.
In my opinion, I think there's been a lot better. I think with that though, there comes a lot of interesting competition though, because we're looking at the group with Real Madrid, Group B, that was very interesting to watch. Then you have the group with PSG and United, that was very interesting to look at as well. Even Group F with Dortmund, that was an interesting group as well, because those teams were just not doing so well in the beginning, and then last day we were going to see who gets second place to go to the knockout stages. But yeah, there's been some decent players, but for me, I think obviously it has to be a Bayern player, doesn't it? But yeah.
All right, fair enough. Neuer, interesting. Personally, for me, I kind of agree with what Racing Red says, which is that Kimmich is absolutely brilliant. Can't wait for him to come back in January. I've been a huge Kimmich fan, but I've also really hated Kimmich for a long time. Not for any reason, not maybe hate is a strong word, but I've always disliked him playing as a right back. So seeing him in midfield, obviously last season and then this season as well, just makes me so much happier. And I feel like he's almost become my favorite player just because he's finally playing in midfield, and I can finally be like, yes, and he's proven it week in, week out. He hasn't played since the beginning of November, and in terms of statistics, I think he's still the fourth highest Bayern player in terms of goal contribution. So that says a lot. He's not really known for creating or scoring that much, but he's still done that consistently this season. So for me, I'm biased. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm massively biased. First of all, because he's a Bayern player, but also because I feel like he's slowly becoming my favorite player. I finally have like a player that I can say is a favorite player, which I didn't have since Lahm retired. And I feel like that might be Kimmich. I think Müller would currently be my favorite player, but Kimmich is getting very close. And for me, he has been the standout player so far, despite the fact that he didn't even play most games.
I feel the same way with that because, right? I mean, like, for me, Kimmich is like my second favorite player. Müller has been my first. I think, after Schweinsteiger left, I think it's like, okay, who am I going to say is my favorite? I'd say it's always been Müller. I've always loved him since Van Gaal's era. He was a very good player. He's always been very important, and he's really defined the role that he plays as a Raumdeuter, that like people like to say. But yeah, I think Kimmich, with the way he's playing, his form, he's just so good. He's just so talented. You could say he's versatile as well. I prefer him in midfield, even though if he plays at right back, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind, but midfielder, he's a lot better in my opinion. And yeah, but the one thing I really wonder is that I want to see in a few years from now, how will Kimmich do? I think he'll do fantastic, but people are now saying, oh, I don't know, maybe is it an overreaction? Because I've seen some people even saying, with the talent Kimmich has, he can become one of the greatest, if not the greatest German midfielder ever. And I'm just saying,
that's never gonna happen. I'm sorry.
So. People actually said that, and I'm just like, wow, seriously? Because he's talented, he's a great player, but better than Lothar Matthäus, I don't know.
Exactly. Kimmich is gonna be remembered, in my opinion, in like the same vein as like someone like Stefan Effenberg. And I actually think they're the exact same player. I look at Kimmich and I think Effenberg, just immediately reminiscent of him. And I feel like he's gonna have that kind of legacy where he's gonna be known as like this super, super talented player. But like Lothar Matthäus, if you just compare where he is in terms of like the all-time great German players, I'd probably put him at number 3. And I know we have like Germany has like plenty of strikers that they're well known for. But in terms of like pure talent, I think it hurts me to say this, I guess, because Lahm, that means he's over Lahm. But I think there's only 2 players above Lothar Matthäus, which are obviously Gerd Müller and Franz Beckenbauer. Now the order between those two, people have debated this for years. People will continue to debate this for years. I think majority of people nowadays would say Franz Beckenbauer, but like if you talk to the older people, they would say Gerd Müller. People can debate it for however long they want to. I don't mind that at all. For me, those two are just number 1, respectively, and I'm not even going to argue who is first and who is second. But yeah, kind of wanting to move on to Sad. Which player has impressed you in this Champions League campaign?
Yeah, the player whom I'm gonna go with is surprisingly not a Bayern player. And I think it's Erling Haaland, and the guy has absolutely left me bamboozled. Honestly, I didn't think that he would be so much impressive last season, because he was coming from like an amateur league. I mean, coming from such a low level, and then with such an inspiring mind. This guy has really shown that he can be a future Ballon d'Or winner, and not a long time to go until he wins the Golden Ball. So for me, I think he's a complete package at the moment, and he's just behind Lewandowski, and maybe in some situation on par with him. And yeah, I would say that. I mean, the player that has tested Neuer the most this season is Erling Haaland. And even though he's played, I think, 2 games this season, one in the Super Cup and one in Bundesliga, I mean, the way he makes runs, the way he imposes himself on the defense, his agility, his prowess to look into the spaces, and the way he runs in behind, I think he's an absolute cracker of a player, and I think he's going to rule the football world in the coming years.
Interesting. Because I personally feel that Moukoko, and yes, I'm probably the biggest Moukoko fan here, But I feel like Moukoko will be the best striker. I don't know whether Haaland will stay at Dortmund. I feel like Haaland, he'll get very, very far. But I feel like he's almost a little bit of like a... What's the right... I don't think there's a phrase for it, but like he's an effective player, but he's not a great player. That's kind of how I would describe... It's very much the same way that I would describe Cristiano Ronaldo, where like he's effective.
Yeah, actually, I would like to interrupt. I think you mean he just injects something into the team. His presence is the best thing there for them.
Yeah, in a way where like he isn't involved in the game much. He doesn't really offer anything besides goals, but because he offers goals in such a consistent manner, he's that vital to the team. It's a weird way to describe him. But like I look at Ronaldo, at least the current Ronaldo, not so much when he was young, but I look at Ronaldo now, and I'm like, he doesn't offer that much to the team. Like he wins the ball, plays a simple pass, and that's that. But because he's so good at getting into the right places, because he's got such a good shot, because he knows how to jump very high, he knows how to head the ball very good. He's just that effective, and I see that same trajectory with Haaland. Like in 5-6 years' time, I feel like he's gonna be in that same position where like he's gonna get you like 4 goals each game. But like I look at him and I can't get excited.
Well, you could say that. Actually, the thing is that with Haaland is that you were talking about Ronaldo, and the same thing comes that these sort of players, I mean, they only need 1 or 2 moments. The moments which actually are of their strength, and whenever they don't miss that. I mean, if you give Ronaldo a free header inside the box, he's not gonna miss that. He will jump high and he will target it at the absolutely right part of the goal, and he'll absolutely score. Same is the case with Haaland. I mean, once you leave in one, once your focus goes away from him, he gets to his strength, he makes a run in behind, and then he shoots with so much power, the keeper absolutely stands no chance. So yeah.
Yep. Fair enough. Your pick is Haaland, which I don't think many people could disagree with. Chugo Goting, who was the player that impressed you the most in this Champions League campaign?
So for Bayern Munich, Neuer is the reason why we got 16 points, because honestly, we didn't play that good in the Salzburg games, and in the Lokomotiv as well. So for Bayern, it would be Neuer and Kingsley Coman. Now, outside Bayern, I would say João Felix has been impressive for Atletico de Madrid.
Yep.
And in Group B, I would say Pereira with 5 goals now, and really impressive. Looking for Group C, the City group. I don't think anyone there really played that good. But yeah, Haaland was absolutely superb, and he is the top scorer right now, joined by Morata, another player who has been really impressive, and Rashford and Neymar, all 4 with 6 goals. But yeah, between those 4, I would say Haaland and Neymar have been the better ones. And for Leipzig, I would say Angelino has been really good, scoring goals from the left back position and assisting. Against United, he was absolutely superb with 1 goal and 2 assists. And yeah, the best player of the group stage, I would say it was Neuer. Yeah, I would go with Neuer because it's biased, but yeah, I would go with Neuer.
Okay, fair enough. I don't think anyone can really disagree with Neuer, considering that like this season he's been absolutely phenomenal, almost reminiscent of like the which I think was the strongest season, the 2014-2015 season, just after the World Cup, where he was like pulling out saves that I've never seen before. Okay, Nabil D, who's been the player that has impressed you the most this Champions League campaign?
Well, so I'm not gonna go like everyone here and listen many players because your question is one player, right?
Yep.
Because really there is many, and I'm not gonna talk about also players who were missing. Whatever could be the cause, could be for injury or for just because for resting or whatever. I'm gonna talk about players who played almost all the games and who gave some added value to their team to make them go forward and maybe even get the chance to go to the next stage. Okay. So for me, the most impressive I think was Angelino with Leipzig, because he really gave big added value this year, and he's even more impressive because I was not expecting that from him. I mean, he was from just regular left back, but in this group stage, he was really in a level above, and he helped his team to get to the upper stage. So Angelino for me is the chosen one, and he was regular on all the games. He was not like Rashford, who was good in some games and not good in some others, or Neymar, who was good in one or two games and not good in the others, or Mbappe or whatever. That's it. For the less impressive, I have no idea. And I'm not also talking about the players who are known to be very good, like Neuer or Coman. I was expecting Coman to be good. He was good in the final 8 already. I knew he was good last season, also with Bayern. I knew his level. I'm talking about the one who really went to another level. So the one who impressed me most is Angelino.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Angelino, obviously, massive performance yesterday. I mean, fantastic. Absolutely. He essentially, I don't want to say single-handedly, but he did essentially knock United out, which is kind of fitting considering that he used to be a Manchester City youth product.
Not only United, but also the other games. Not only
yeah, I know.
You see the passes, he scores, many things he does.
And I actually quite like what Nagelsmann did with him. Cause obviously the issue with him was that he doesn't defend well. So instead of playing with him as a left back, Nagelsmann essentially just changed it to would essentially be like a 3-4, I guess 3-4-2-1. Just allowing him the freedom to be a right wing back, so he doesn't have the defensive duties, and he can fully concentrate on offering support and helping out up front. And I feel like it just shows you, first of all, how flexible Nagelsmann is, but it just also shows you that he plays to the strength of his team.
Okay,
And that's been evident in the Champions League campaign as well as in the Bundesliga and everywhere else. Nipo and Sharma, are you there now?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. So the question I have for you, which I've asked everyone else, is which player has impressed you the most so far in the Champions League campaign?
I think it's going to sound quite mainstream now. Erling Braut Haaland.
Fair enough. On the same page as Sad, then. See, Haaland has impressed a lot of people. Obviously, last season he impressed a lot of people too, but last season it was for Salzburg before it then became for Dortmund. But yeah, if you look at his statistics, he's already scored more Champions League goals than many legendary figures in football. So yeah, you can't go wrong with that choice. You absolutely can't. There's one interesting that nobody else has mentioned here, but there's one interesting name that Nick Georges mentioned. Not this comment. It was this comment, and he says, "In my opinion, I think it has to be Ansu Fati for Barcelona. He's been out for a month and a half, and in the games he's missed, Barca have lacked to create chances, and he still is our top goal scorer at 18. What do you all think about
Can
that?
I please interrupt?
Text this time. You have that in 5 in now, basically.
What?
So it could be how long? If
Okay.
she always does chill. What's the chill?
I think he's talking to someone else, so he'll be back in a second, I guess.
Can
But what
I
do you
add
all
something
think about
here?
What?
Can I add something here? I found the
absolutely.
one that the one who disappointed me. I talked about the one who impressed me, but the one who disappointed me, and I'm sorry to talk about this player because I know that all Bayern fans loves him, but he disappointed me because I love him too, and I was expecting more goals from him, and it's Lewandowski.
Ooh. Now we're getting spicy here. Now we're getting spicy. Ooh. What do you all think about that then? Lewandowski, has he been disappointing?
Yeah, because how many goals did he score on the stage?
In the Champions League, I think maybe 3 or 4.
No, I think only 2. But I cannot blame him that much. It disappointed me a little bit, but I cannot blame him that much because I feel that last year the wingers were playing with him much more than this year. I think this year Leroy Sané tried to show himself and is more selfish a little bit. Maybe I see more Gnabry and Sané playing together and Muller playing with Lewandowski. I feel like there is something wrong with this 4. I feel like 2 are playing together and the 2 others are playing together, and maybe this is why. But still, 2 goals only, it's not enough for Lewandowski.
You know what? I'm not even gonna argue about that. All right, I'm not gonna say anything about that.
I know I'm gonna make some people angry here, but it's.
I mean, that's just the nature of expressing your
more
opinion.
from him. I'm expecting more from him. That's normal. I love it too.
Fair enough. Shoot. All right. So that was basically all the questions that I had. But I mean, if you all want to talk about anything, go ahead. I don't have any other topics that I wanted to talk about, like the teams that have impressed us the most, the teams that have disappointed us the most, and the players that have impressed us the most. So I guess the question that I can ask at this point is, how do you see the rest of the Champions League campaign go? Not just Bayern, but in general. Who do you think will win? Obviously, we don't know what the groups are. We don't know who's going to play who. But who do you see go far in this Champions League campaign? Who do you see do well? Who do you think will win it? I mean, most people will probably say Bayern because, quite frankly, most people here are Bayern fans. But like, how do you see the rest of the campaign go? Talk however you want to talk. Say whatever you want to say, all of you.
Okay, can I help with the question that comes before yours?
Sure.
Do you feel that Bayern this year is as stronger, or less strong than last year?
Interesting. Personally, difficult. In general, I'd say we are better, but we're also worse because our defense has been so terrible. So we're better as a team, but I feel like we're worse defensively.
But it's the same players in defense.
Yeah. But we have been too high.
I even can say that we have better defense because last year we did not have Fernandes. And this year we have Fernandes that is better than last year.
I mean, yes, but personally, I think overall we are better. We're a little bit unlucky because of the injuries, but I feel like as a whole, if we had the team playing for weeks, for months, or playing cohesively, if we had the whole team playing cohesively, then for a prolonged period of time, we all saw how Alphonso Davies did today. So I feel like we have the whole team playing, everyone motivating each other, everyone pushing each other. I feel like we would be better.
Were you trying to ask me something?
Nope.
Hello? Were you trying to ask me something?
Okay, I would come on to the Bayern thing.
Ryan, were you asking
Can you hear
me
me?
something?
Yeah.
Okay, so defensively, as you said, we haven't been much stronger. But I think most of the phase which you're talking about is without Alphonso Davies and Kimmich. And for me, I guess that we have to see what pans out when Fonzie, as you know, he's back now. And the way Fonzie plays and the way we were playing without him is a massive difference for me. I think even if we play high, we can do that with Alphonso Davies. And the thing is that I want this combination with Leroy Sané. I mean, if Fonzie is doing on this side, Sané can do the same on the other side. And with being powered, being slow, I think that if Sané tracks back and decides to commit somewhat more in defensively, I think that we should be much more stronger on the other side as well. And coming back to the Fonzie, I think if you remember last season against Dortmund away, which we won 1-0 through that extraterrestrial goal from Kimmich. Haaland made a run and he was almost one-on-one with Neuer, but then Fonzie just, I think, came back running like 1,000 kilometers and just stopped Haaland from the back. That was a moment where I think Müller nicknamed him as Roadrunner after that game. And coming to the second situation, which I'm remembering at the moment, is the Chelsea game. I don't remember the opponent name, but the same case happened there. We were left absolutely endangered in the box with Neuer exposed to the attacker, but Fonzie came from behind and he stopped him. Now this is the thing which we were lacking with Boateng and of course Alaba in the absence of Davies, that we weren't able to go up in these type of situations. Of course, we were high, as you mentioned. So I think with being that much high, we need pace. And on the other side, we don't have any pace, even in form of Saar. He isn't that quite much flashy. So I think Sane really has to come in here and he has to use his pace. And I am pretty much sure that if Fonzie remains fit, he would be absolutely deadly on this side for us. And if Sane can commit himself towards defense, I think we would absolutely be rock solid, and we would keep much more clean sheets than we are doing at the moment.
I think he's going to get some water.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to add something, maybe Hussein.
I mean, yeah, I think. I don't have too much to say. I think.
My question was: do you think Bayern is as strong or less strong than last year?
Now, yeah, that's. I think I'll say this. I think one issue I have is I think a lot of people know is that it's the defense, because the way we play our defense is in a very high line and it can be vulnerable sometimes. And I talked about this a bit earlier. And for me, the issue I have now is our centre-back pairing. That's what is making us a bit weaker here. I think Alaba, he hasn't been that great. And I think I like Sula, I like Boateng, they're both good centre-backs. But I think them playing together, it's not the greatest pairing. So I feel like if Alfonso Davies plays at left back, but Lucas Hernandez plays at centre back, I think this will make our defense a bit stronger. I think when it comes to the attack, we have a good, for a backup striker, Choupo-Moting, if he's going to be a backup striker, then that's good. And he showed it today. He scored today, a goal in the Champions League, of course, very important. So that was good. Our options on the wings, they're very good as well. But I think Sane, he hasn't been the best. Yeah, that is true. But I think he has to be a little more suited into our system. I know it's been months, and to say that it's like a bit weird. Like, oh, what more does he have to do to get used to the system? But I think there's still parts of his game where it looks like he really hasn't adjusted too much. And the other thing is, we've gone from a good option like Perisic and Coutinho on the wings to now Douglas Costa, who isn't a bad player, but I feel like he's one of those players where he likes to give the crowd like an entertainment, like a show. He's very flashy sometimes, and I think in some cases it works, but it can be a bit be a bit costly. I liked Perisic because he's one of those players that was very good, but he played very simple football as well, just doing the basic things right. And so in that sense we've improved, but I think the defense can be a bit better. But now it's about, we mentioned this earlier, now we have to find what our best options are in the defensive line, now that Davis is coming back, now that Hernandez has recovered, now that Bruno Sarr is back. And we talk about, saying that has the team gotten stronger or weaker, but I think the thing with this is that we haven't seen, too much of, Alfonso Davies and Kimmich playing together now, and I think once they're together on the pitch, the team is a lot better. So we have to see how they play together, how Leroy Sané contributes while they're playing on the pitch as well, how bench options in Marc Roca and Douglas Costa and Gnabry can contribute. So it's everything is because of COVID and injuries, so we have to watch out for that. But I think in my opinion, I'd say the team is a bit stronger on the attack. The defense is still good. I wouldn't say it's gotten worse, considering the fact that we've conceded more goals. We have the same players, but I think it's just we haven't picked the best defensive line in terms of the formation, like who plays at center back and who plays at left back. So
Okay, so I think I got to say bye-bye to all here because it's almost like 6 a.m. in the morning. I have to sleep and I have to get up at 8 and go to work.
Well, all right. Well, I just want to say good night to you then, and thank you very much for stopping by. I definitely am trying to do these more in the future, so there'll definitely be more opportunities to join if that's something you're looking forward to doing in the future.
Yeah, I absolutely have no problem. I'm also looking forward for such events in the future as well.
All right. Well, I will say one last thing on my end, and that is that the group stages are now over. The draw will be made, I think, on the 12th or 13th, but it will be made in a week or so. So we have a lot to look forward to. Obviously, we've still got some games left for this season, but I think our season ends on the 19th. Before we go on break. So I quite like that name that you changed to. Alaba, please stay.
Yeah, I would like him to stay.
So would I, to be completely honest. So would I.
He's one of my favorite.
But hasn't Alaba down tools on you guys?
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like he's been a left back for most of his career, and to see him play at center back, last year obviously it was successful, but now it's just like you can see the cons that there is to playing him out of his position. And I feel like the issue is not just that. I think mentally there might be something going on with him just because of all the speculation with his contract and everything. So that could be another issue. I like Alaba. He's a good player, quality. On his day, he's a top class player. But right now, I think the issue is we want more consistency, and that's not something we're getting out of him. And if he can be more consistent, then I tell myself, please stay. Like, I beg him to stay. But right now, I'm just like, if you leave, I don't mind. If you stay, I'd be happy because you've been with us, for so long. We've won 2 trebles with you, So it's like it really depends.
If I may give my opinion about him and generally about Bayern, what I like with my team is that we have on each line someone who has a character, who organizes his line. We have Neuer on the defense, but in the first line defense, the guy who has the strongest character, who organizes the defense, is Alaba. And then in the midfield, we have Kimmich, who does it. And when he's not there, it's Goretzka. But first level, it's Kimmich. And then in the attack, we have either Müller and in lower level Lewandowski. But it's Müller who is the chief of orchestra of the attack. So in each line, we have a guy who is organizing and making the chief of orchestra. And Alaba is that guy, even if sometimes he's not good, but still he has the mentality and this strength and this character to shout and to reorganize things. Even if he does mistakes, he knows it, but he still have the mentality to fight until the end.
I actually agree with that a lot. Like all your points, they are brilliant. Having a leader in all aspects of the game, that's exactly it's obviously more noticeable now without fans in the stadium, where you can actually hear the players talk. And I feel like the player that you can always hear is Müller. Well, like he is the one player that you can always hear shout. But like even like if the ball's obviously further back, you can definitely hear Neuer. You can definitely hear Alaba. You can definitely hear obviously Kimmich. Kimmich's voice is quite loud, to be completely honest. So yeah, it's very clear that we do have evidence, and I very much agree with you that we do have leaders in all places, in every position, which helps us a lot.
Of course.
And obviously these players, they've won it all. They've done it all. They have the expectation to win everything. They are not complacent. And I feel like that's really beneficial and helpful to us, which has been proven over not just last year, but even under the years where we've not looked that good. Kovac, for example, he didn't really play Müller. So we kind of lacked that leader in that specific phase, and it was telling. You see how much we run with Müller on the pitch, and you see how much we run without him on the pitch. Obviously, Kovac's famous phrase was, "You can't drive. What was it? You can't drive 200 kilometers with a car that can only go 100 kilometers an hour." Well, that's wrong, because the second we were sacked, we're suddenly driving 200. So yeah, maybe you can't, but Flick certainly can. And it's just telling. Leadership is very, very important in all aspects of the pitch.
Yeah. If you say that Real Madrid have only one, who is Ramos, we have 4.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell, like, Real Madrid, obviously it's very difficult to replace Ronaldo, but like Ronaldo was most certainly also a vocal character alongside Ramos. Now that they've lost that figure alongside, say, Iker Casillas, they still have the experience, but I wouldn't say they necessarily have the character. There is a difference between those two.
Yeah, this is why I'm saying just Ramos in Real Madrid.
Yeah. Now, Racing Red asked a question, and I don't want to answer that. What are the chances of Bayern signing Szoboszlai or Upamecano in the future? The reason I don't want to answer that is because I kind of want to leave. I want to do more of these in the future, of course, but like I want to leave them until the transfer window, until like the winter transfer window, and until there's no football, basically. Like I want to keep this like strictly football. Also, Anna Prince, what's up? How you doing, my bro? I'm doing great. I hope you're doing fantastic as well. You probably joined us at a wrong time, considering that this is the end of the stream, the end of the discussion. But I mean, if you want to look back, we've been here for 2 hours and 14 minutes, so we've been here for quite a while. Yeah, but that's about it. Yeah, go ahead. I was just about to say that's about it from me. But if anyone else has anything to say, go ahead.
Okay, who would you like to meet in the next round?
Barcelona, then Real Madrid, and then you can give me Juventus, and that's about it. So Barcelona, because I want to face them, best team, they have the best player. I want to beat Messi his final season at Barcelona. Probably I want his Champions League campaign to end at Bayern. That'll be a nice history marker. Then Real Madrid.
No, come on.
It's just the way of life.
It's
right?
done.
Yeah.
It's done, Barcelona. To think about someone. I would like to beat Real Madrid actually, because we've beaten Barcelona, we've beaten Atletico Madrid, and now Real Madrid is missing. I would like to finish with the Spanish.
I definitely want Real Madrid.
Yeah,
I agree with you on that one. 100%.
The thing with UEFA is like you never know. Like the way UEFA works is like people like to say, "Oh, these guys are so corrupt." I do think they are, and at this point, I feel like the way that they work, they're definitely going to try to set up the round in a way where we're going to play Real Madrid soon. It's just how they work. But I can't blame them because Real Madrid and Bayern, that is like one of the best matches there is to watch because it's like very equal in terms of the wins against each other from both sides. It's a very competitive match. But yeah, I love that.
Stolen twice.
Actually, I'm pretty sure we. Actually, no, we don't anymore. Like we used to have this massive record against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Which is obviously why we used to be called La Bestia Negra.
Yeah.
Because of our record, but like, I don't think that record stands anymore just because of how the last few seasons have gone. Which is actually why I want to face Real Madrid. I want to revive that ethos, that mythical ethos of La Bestia Negra. You can have the best players in the world and we'll still beat you. Now, granted, we probably have better players than them, so that attitude really, that phrase doesn't really appeal anymore. It's not really, the thing anymore. Even if we play with our kids, we still beat Real Madrid. That isn't really the case anymore. But I still want to face them.
Yes, but we cannot in next round.
Yeah, I know.
Which
is why I want to face Barcelona next. Barcelona, end that Messi legend. For me, the greatest player of all time. So I want to be the team that like knocks him out of Barcelona. So like his final year at Barcelona, I want to be the team that like just destroys that, says goodbye, and see you somewhere else. Maybe PSG, maybe City, but goodbye at Barcelona. Your story is over. It hurts to see, but I like seeing. I like being the person that inflicts the pain. And then Real Madrid, because I have a score to settle with them. And then Juventus, just because I like playing against Juventus. Against Ronaldo, I can be as well like, okay, Ronaldo, for some people, also the best player of all time. I want to say goodbye to you.
Okay, I think more about Atalanta because they're really playing interesting way of playing, and it would be like a really good start for us to start again this Champions League with the team that plays very well, and to know what's your level in March or in February or March, and to start very well the next leg of this Champions League.
Fair enough. BD Core Football, how are you doing? Hope you're fine. I saw one of your recent videos, quite enjoyed it, have to say. Obviously, congratulations on Dortmund to going through. Good stuff. Oh, you're actually joining the stream. Perfect. Hi. Yeah, but Hussein, Alaba, please stay. BD Core, I mean, you're Dortmund fan, so probably a bad question to ask you, but who would you want to face next? In the next round?
Can you hear me?
A bit quiet.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, definitely can't hear. Let me just adjust your mic volume to up it a little bit. All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Sure. I'll ask you then. What did you think of Dortmund's campaign, and who would you want to face next?
You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanna hmm, I don't mind. I just mind whoever we play. I just think we need to fix our consistency issue. The past
Okay.
couple of games we haven't been consistent. And whoever we get, I hope it really favors our side. Um, I don't know who will play. I know I'm hearing Barca, I'm hearing Madrid, I'm hearing Sevilla, I'm hearing Atletico. I think if we play Barca, we lose. If we play Atletico, we lose. Um, I could see Porto. Porto looks like a Porto looks like a very reasonable draw for Dortmund, to be honest, because it's like a 50-50. You know what I'm trying to say? And I think that if we play Porto, we have a chance. Um, I don't really want to play Atlanta. I think Atlanta will give us a really good game. And I think that's not a very good draw for us. So I think Porto would be the best draw for Dortmund. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. You kind of missed us discussing Haaland. We were heaping praise on him, saying that he's absolutely fantastic. What's your view on that?
Oh, on Haaland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Haaland is really, really good. I think the thing about Haaland is like he has this thing about him where um I still feel like he still needs to show more in the game a bit. Against Bayern, that we played, especially those two games we played against Bayern. I think he should have buried those type of chances. You know, Haaland on those kind of days, that's the chances that against any team he would bury those chances. Um, but some people say he's overrated. I could understand why. Um, I also think that personally, what I think Haaland won't leave Dortmund just because I would say maybe give him one more year. Give him one more year
Okay.
to settle in. Yeah, in Dortmund. But I think I think he's this player where um he has some really good away performances. I really like Haaland because Bundesliga he has some really good away performances, but when it comes down to playing against the big boys like a Bayern Munich, a PSG, and these type of how do you say defensive low block teams who sometimes yes they might play a high line but they'll draw back and drop off and press. I think he's very very exposed and I just wish like he can show me more in these type of big games per se. So that's what I would say about Holland. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Kind of interesting considering that like the games that when I think of Haaland, I always think of like the big games, which is like the Dortmund game against PSG last season where he scored that one goal, then obviously did his pose and whatnot, and obviously think of how good he was against Bayern. Obviously, Neuer was equal to that, but I still thought he had a very very strong game. I
But I
also
think
mentioned earlier.
also okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think this is the thing that I just don't understand is where that second game we played against you guys, I think we really, 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 really should have won that game because I mean he had loads of chances. Those are the kind of chances he converts, you know. He's good. He's good. I know you think about him in the big games, but I still feel like I need to see more from him. I think he kind of needs more time to develop. That's how I would say. Yeah. But yeah.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. As I said, you unfortunately joined us pretty much right at the end. We were just kind of discussing the teams that we want Bayern to face in the next few rounds. But yeah, I mean, if anyone else has anything else to say, who would you want Bayern to face? I guess anyone else, go ahead. But if not,
Lazio.
Oh, that. This is the thing. I actually think Bayern is going to win the Champions League this season. I'm just being realistic.
That's why you're on here. That's why I allow you on here.
Not that
being
sure.
dead realistic. I'm being dead realistic. You know, the thing about the Champions League is, you have to have a really good defense. And the thing about Bayern, the difference between Bayern and the other teams is, and I saw it against Leipzig and I saw it against Dortmund is, against these big teams, they like to suffer. They will suffer first, and they'll allow the opponents to get back into the game, so that they can have the freedom to call it, so that they can have the freedom to score three or more, because they know if you score them two, they can come back with three. You know what I'm trying to say? And that's kind of like the Hansi Flick mentality that he's brought into this Bayern team. I just think it's I really, 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 really think
It
Bayern is
was
gonna
a
win.
chance that happened like this.
Wait, say? Sorry, I can't hear.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Sorry, I will talk later.
Oh no, I was saying, I don't know who can beat them. I don't know who can beat them. But what I will say is this: Club World Cup usually changes the way the team performs. You know what I'm trying to say? Now, I my they're not gonna go out in a round of 16. Come on, man. There's no way that's happening. Um, I think they're gonna win Champions League. I think they're gonna go to the finals again. I think they're gonna do a two-peat, because this is the mentality that Flick has brought in. I don't know what manager can break it. I really don't. Like, I'm looking at all the managers in the Champions League right now. Okay, and I think this is the question I should ask you, Bayern Fan TV, is: do you think a team like PSG, with the caliber of players they have and the manager they have, do you think they can beat Bayern at this stage? Because they had a really good chance last season and they missed it. I mean, what do you think about that?
No, personally, I feel like I only there's only one team in the Champions League that I don't necessarily want to face, and that's
Mhm.
Which
Liverpool.
one? Oh,
But the
And
thing
the
too
reason
about
for that is because they're too fast. Their attackers are too fast, and they all have a very similar mentality to us, where it's like we score four. Yeah, if you score three, we'll score four, and I feel like they have a very similar mentality to that. Where like, oh, you scored three against us, well, we'll score four against you, and I feel like that will just bring us into an attacking game. Which is why I think that game could be very, very close. I feel like that, if we play against Liverpool with all the best players on all the best teams, everyone being healthy, 100%, I feel like that game, those two games, I guess, could go either way.
then Prince, let's hope they will
I agree.
face Atletico Madrid. In the
I
round
don't
16.
think Atletico can beat Bayern. I don't think Atletico can beat Bayern.
Nah,
No, I'm talking
we
about
destroyed them
Liverpool.
twice.
Oh, Liverpool. Oh, yeah.
Liverpool to face Atletico Madrid again.
I do that Liverpool give my goal 50-50. But this is my thing about Liverpool is, we've seen time and time again, especially this season, where they don't have Van Dijk. You know what I'm trying to say? And they're very susceptible when you don't have Thiago Alcantara, who I think Bayern should have kept. I don't know why Bayern scored him. He was one of Bayern's crucial players. So I think when you keep Thiago Alcantara, and when you play these guys like Van Dijk and so forth, then maybe I would say it's a 50-50. Now, with this current Liverpool side, I still feel like they're very complacent. Trent is defensively is very susceptible. I think he can be really got at. Yeah, and still, I don't think, like, how do you say this? Look at Bayern's depth compared to Liverpool's depth. I think Bayern's depth is a bit better than Liverpool's depth. Not saying that Diego Jota is not a good player. I just feel like Bayern has the right players to, beat a team like Liverpool. You know what I'm trying to say? Um, but yeah, maybe it might go 50-50. It depends if Van Dijk and Thiago Alcantara is fit, if they play those two legs. That's how I see that type of game. But yeah.
I don't think Van Dijk will make it. Maybe Alcantara, but not Van Dijk. His injury is too bad.
Yeah. He's a crucial player. He's a crucial player to Liverpool. He's a crucial player, and I think Liverpool made a huge mistake this summer of not buying another world class center back. I thought maybe if they got like a Koulibaly in their team, it could have probably settled that kind of backline issue that they're going through right now. But Joe Gomez, Matip, I just.
But I think Matip and Fabinho are doing very good in the defense right now. They found back the right balance in the whole team.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to say is Koulibaly hasn't really been at his best in the last few months, and I've talked to some Napoli fans who say that he's a good player, but in the last few games, their best centre backs have either been like Manolas or Maximovic. So it's not to say that Liverpool can't go in for Koulibaly. If they get him, they'll still be very good. But I know another player that's been linked to them a lot is Ozan Kabak from Schalke. So I want to see if they still go. Yeah, I want to see if they still go in for him. I'm not sure if they will, but anything to help their defense, of course. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in January. They might get someone. And
I think Kabak is a very defensively astute center back, and I think maybe he might really complement maybe a defender like Van Dijk. But I think my thing here is, does Liverpool will that stop Liverpool from being complacent in the counters, because teams can count on Liverpool. You understand what I'm trying to say? And especially I'm looking at Bayern's attack. Thomas Müller is a really, really underrated player. I don't think people really praise him. Lewandowski is a very huge attack. Coleman can cause a lot of problems to that Liverpool backline. I don't know. I don't know if I can trust that Liverpool backline. I think they're very susceptible. But yeah, go on. I'm sorry to take off the show.
No,
I'm sorry.
Like I said, we've already talked for like 2 hours and 30 minutes or so. So having a new perspective on things, someone that's also obviously not a Bayern fan, is great. We've obviously had Nipun Sharma previously. I don't know whether he's still here or not, but just having a different perspective on things is great to have. But like besides Liverpool, I don't personally, I don't fear any team, and it's not like I fear Liverpool either. It's just I feel like those games will be very, very close. I guess if you really want to talk about a team, Manchester City can be an issue. I don't necessarily have an issue at playing against them, but Bayern just has a very bad record against them. Like we win one game and then we lose the next one. It's kind of like we win one, lose one, win one, lose one. It's always the same. So I guess it just matters. What?
What did we do on the last one?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, what did we do on the last one? Did we win or lose?
I'm not sure. I think we lost.
So we will win the next.
Exactly. So we'd win the next one and then lose the second leg. So that's kind of why I don't like playing Manchester City, because I don't know what it is. Like even when we have our best team and they have a terrible team, it's still we win one, we lose one, just in a pattern. And it's one of those football things that I don't personally understand, but like just happens. It's like the same reason how I knew that like someone like the same reason why I know who play Arsenal, we beat them 5-1. It's one of those football things that doesn't make sense, but it still happens. It's one of those things.
What makes me feel more comfortable with the City is that their midfield are slower than ours. That's the only.
But I also think that the inclusion of the other Bundesliga teams like RB Leipzig and Gladbach is also it also gives motivation for Bayern that they're not the only team that is in the knockout stage. I I think personally, I think Bayern will they should be able to beat a team like City. The reason why I'm saying this is City doesn't have a very consistent backline. It's
Fair.
chop and change, making new backlines and so forth. So, and Mendy is not usually fit 100%. So I don't know. I just
Pep
I
likes to
really want
tinker.
Bayern. What you say?
Pep likes to tinker. He just likes to chop and change, just mess
Yeah.
around. And oftentimes it works, oftentimes it doesn't. It's just one of those things with him, I guess. But yeah,
Did
I
you
mean,
guys notice? Did you
Go ahead.
guys notice that this time we have 4 German teams in the next round?
Yeah.
And for Spanish.
Four Spanish teams, 3 English teams, and
Could have been 4 English, but Manchester United did what they always do.
Yeah. I have actually no idea how.
Atalanta, Juventus, and Lazio, 3 teams, 3 Italian, 3 English, and then 1 French, and 1 Portuguese.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't really like the La Liga teams. I don't know why.
This season they've not impressed me either.
It's not that they don't. It's just that I think they're very horrible in defensive wise. I think the only team that I really watch in La Liga is Real Madrid. Aside from that, like all the other teams have like a high goal differential of conceding goals every now and then to other teams. I don't really rate Barcelona too. I don't really rate Messi. I've not really rated him for a long time actually.
Oof! Now you're hurting me. Now you're hurting me personally.
No, I look at football in a different way. I think like the Bundesliga slogan says, football as it's meant to be. So, for me, like the way Bayern play, the way Dortmund play, Gladbach, and all these other teams like they play more efficient football, more noticeable football. Barcelona is not. Yeah, sorry.
Vidicor, I would like to ask a question to people here, but please don't take me wrong. We used to do that, so I'm gonna I'm gonna ask the question.
Okay.
For Bayern fans, if you would like to pick one player from Dortmund to come to Bayern, which one would you like to take? Personally, I would choose Reina.
If I would like to take one player from Dortmund to come to
No,
Bayern.
not you. Bayern fan. If Bayern
Moukoko.
Bayern Munich would like to take one guy from Dortmund, I'm asking the Bayern fans.
Moukoko.
Moukoko?
Yeah.
Really?
Not Haaland. Nobody says Haaland.
Moukoko.
Okay.
I'm gonna be the basic guy and say Haaland in my opinion.
Yeah, I go for Reina.
It's understandable.
No,
If
all
you
these
guys
players
said
are good,
Reina would take the place of Müller for me.
Now we've got
Ooh.
Musiala for that.
Yeah.
Moukoko for me, as I said in the past, for me he is in 3-4 years time. By the time he is 20, he's gonna be the best player in the world.
I agree.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's
I agree.
interesting. I mean, I can't go against it because I see it happening as well. He's just so good. More time he gets, the more better he's going to be. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Dortmund is one of those great clubs, for youth development. So,
Yeah.
How did he impress you? I mean, what did he do so far?
He's basically broken every record there's ever been for youth teams. Every record, like when he was like 14, he played at like the under 21 level. When he was like 15, he played at the proper the proper second team and broke all the records there. So he's just someone that scores goals, even when he's 5-6 years younger than all his teammates. He still scores. He still breaks records. Scores hat tricks for fun. And so far, from what I've seen from him at for the first team for Dortmund, he hasn't looked like he's out of place. He's still struggling a little bit, I'd say, with his physique. But he's still I feel like he's very strong, but like very. When I say he's struggling with his physique, I don't necessarily mean like in his strength department. I feel like I saw the game yesterday. Like he was essentially just holding off the ball, and the referee gave that as a foul because he was just that strong. But like I feel like he lacks a little bit in the height department, which obviously as a striker, when you really need to head a ball, that can be a detriment. And I feel like that really comes with age. But like all the other things that he's done, he's looked absolutely brilliant with. So for me, again, I feel like once he gets used to his teammates, I feel like once he scores his first goal or his first couple of goals, he's gonna like light up the Bundesliga. I feel like by the end of this season, by the end of this season, maybe halfway through next season, they won't even play Haaland anymore, and they'll play Moukoko.
You think he will get his momentum?
That's true.
I'll think he'll surpass momentum.
I'm not. You have to be aware that many very young players who were like start when they were really young at 16. Sometimes when they get older, they are not what they promises to be.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, but
besides,
I feel like Favre is the perfect coach for that. We've seen how good Favre is with young players. Like you look at someone like Bellingham. Bellingham looks absolutely class. Like for his age, how old is he? Like 17. He looks brilliant. And Favre, you may say, Favre, he's not really pushing this Dortmund team forward. You may say, oh well, Favre is not the right coach for Dortmund, and all of those things would be valid. But there's the one thing that I can say, that he's doing right is helping the youth players get better. That's one thing that he's always been good at, and that is developing young talent. Trusting young talent, playing young players when other people, they might not. And I feel like, even if it's just the end of this season, if Moukoko can play under him, if Bellingham can play under him, if Gio Reyna can play under him for the rest of this season, those players would, their development would spike. Like, they would become the players that they were meant to be in 3-4 years by the end of this season if they could just play that, this full season under Favre.
Is he German?
Yeah, I don't think
Favre.
the thing is I don't think Favre will be the Dortmund manager for long.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I think this summer might be the time when he actually leaves. I think under a manager like I would say like a Poch or Jesse Marsch, who from Red Bull Salzburg, these type of managers, or Marco Rosa, I think they can really, they can spike Moukou's career to make him look like a really good player, because I think these type of coaches, they also work with these young players. I think Marsch is really good with young players. He improved Haaland, so Marsch could do something with Moukoukou. And then we all saw Marco Rose, what he's done with players like Alexander Play and Marcus Thuram, who now is at their peak form right now, and they're playing really well. So I don't think Favre is going to stay there for long, but I think under coach managers like Jesse Marsch, or if we get like a Marco Rosa or something like that, even a Poch would really improve. I think a player like Moukoukou. That's how I see it. So yeah,
I actually very much agree with you. But it is now 1:30 for me, and I need to be up tomorrow by 7. So
But Prince, you did not answer to my question. If you think that Bayern is as stronger, or less strong than last year.
Oh, you talking
Bayern,
me or okay, sir?
I think he means me.
Okay.
Bayern, in my opinion, is stronger than last season. Despite our despite our defensive, deficiencies, we are as a whole stronger. And I feel like once all the players are back, once you have, say, the likes of Alphonso Davies, you're able to give Lucas Hernandez some rest. You're able to give, say, Boateng and Sule some rest. You're able to give, the likes of Coman, Gnabry, Muller, all of them a little bit of rest. I feel like we'll be at peak performance again, and that's kind of how I feel like. That's why I feel like we're struggling a little bit, because we didn't have that long summer break that we usually have. We didn't have a training camp at the end during the summer, so like the new guys, they weren't really able to train with the team, learn new concepts, learn where to be positioned, and that's really been hindering us. And I feel like once we have a little bit of time to train, once we have a little bit of time to just develop, then those players will be fantastic. But as a whole,
Because what I think what made our strength last year is our bench. So you think that we have a better bench than last year? Then?
I think we have a better bench, but it's not utilized as well. And that's because you look at someone like Marc Roca. Again, we talked about him earlier.
I was going to say that too.
I feel like he's fantastic. You look at someone like Sané. You have to really say Sané is an upgrade on Perisic. He might not be showing it right now, but he's still an upgrade on Perisic in terms of a player, and in terms of being clinical, and in terms of just the whole package. But those players, they haven't really been able to just train. We have like the little training sessions between games, but those little training sessions are not the ones where you learn new concepts. Those are just where you keep your fitness up. You might do the tactical aspects. For the following games, like if for the next game, you just train on the tactical aspect. You're not really training concepts. You're not really training running paths. You're not really training passing lanes. You're not really training where the crosses should go. And I feel like once we have that training, once we have a little bit of time to get that training under their belt, that's when our team is gonna spike. Like our team is gonna get so much better. But we just need to get to that point, which I feel like the winter break. Yes, it's only a 2-week winter break, but the winter break will be key.
Okay, and my last question, I swear. What did you think about Stiller when he played today? And he played also against Duran.
Stiller was great. IMO. Looked very, very solid. I mean, the thing with Stiller, the thing with Stiller is that, like, last season for the youth team, he wasn't that good. He was good, but not that good. This season, he's looked really, really strong. Like not just for the youth team, but he's also looked really, really good for like the men's team. But
so why are they selling him?
Well, I was just about to get to that. The issue with that is that he becomes a free agent at the end of the summer, but we don't have a space for him in the team. And that's the issue. We don't have a space, because you look at someone like Dantas. Dantas will likely be integrated into the men's team. So we're in this position right now where we have so much good, young, maybe not young, but inexperienced footballers, midfielders, that we don't have the place for Stiller. Personally, if it was up to me, you give him a 3-4 year contract and loan him out for a year. But I don't know whether he'll accept that.
It's a shame, really. When I saw him playing, that it's a shame. He's really good. I liked it. Even better, I even would make him play instead of Roca.
No, I you know something. I think this is the difference between Bayern and Dortmund, where it shows in the game where you can bring in these players like Sané, you can bring in these players like Tolisso and these guys, and their experience. I think the thing about Bayern is, like, you're talking about Musiala and all these young players. I think Bayern is doing this at the right time because they're also thinking about the future. They're not only thinking about the now.
Yep.
Well, whereas you see other clubs like Barcelona who are just consistently just focused on the now, on winning something now. But Bayern, they know that if the youth learn from the experienced players like Tolisso, like Sule, and these type of guys, they're gonna take over from the mantle, and they're gonna also make Bayern a really good team in the future, on future time. So they're also learning from the Dortmund model. Sorry, excuse me. The Dortmund model. They're not just, I'm trying to say, saying that they can, oh, we don't want to play the young players. I'm trying to say. But I
Yep.
think the thing about Flick is he's picking the right games to start these young players. You know what I'm trying to say? Because you can't
Yes.
just chuck in these young players in high tempo pressure games where it's really high pressure. You're playing against a team like, let's say, Liverpool. You can't just chuck in these young players in there because, although the fans would say, "Oh, bring them in" and all that other stuff like that, you're risking yourself. You know what I'm trying to say? And I think that's the one thing I really rate about Favre too is he doesn't just chuck in these young players in these kind of high tempo games when they know that they're not ready. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree with you. That's the one thing personally that I can say about Flick that I've enjoyed more under Flick than say even some previous managers that have been successful is that he plays a lot of young players, which has always been the criticism of Bayern because we've got we built this new youth center, but we never used it, and now we're slowly seeing the fruits of all that come to fruition. We have some like excellent players as well, our youth that in our youth team that aren't necessarily going to play anytime soon, but like in 4 or 5 years' time, they might finally get a few minutes with the main squad. It's just like having this consistent trickle through of like new players coming in and out is just great. You look at someone like I don't know. You look at someone like
Musiala, I think, is very promising.
I mean, yeah,
That
Musiala. He's going to be the best player. He's going to be the best Bayern player in 3 years' time.
I believe too. I believe it.
But
No. At that point.
I wish Dortmund had him, to be honest. I mean, it would have been perfect, but hey. He's had a better season. Not to be disrespectful, and I know a lot of Dortmund fans would slander me and say, "Oh, why did you say this and this?" No. I am not reactionary. I'm just saying the truth. But this is my thing. I think Musiala has actually had a better season and better performances than Sancho has this whole season.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. Sancho this season has been disappointing.
Sancho's been so disappointing. He's been so poor. Like, I don't know. I don't know why people, and this is the thing that I hate so much is we're trying to push this agenda. Dortmund is trying to push this agenda that they want Sancho to come back to form. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But the guy has been horrible. I mean, against who was it against? Augsburg, he was horrible. Against Cologne, he was horrible. I know he was trying to be creative, but that was not his job. You know?
I think he's had one good game this season, from what I've seen, which is the one where he assisted Haaland. That's the one game that I can remember where that I thought he looked good.
It was against Club Brugge in the Champions. He scored in a free kick, and I'm like, when I saw that, I was like, are you serious? Like, we're now gonna say that this guy scored a free kick, so now he's back in form? Like, he was horrible. He was horrible against Cologne. I just don't know. I strongly believe Musiala has had a way better season than Haaland than Sancho this whole season. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like I watched Dortmund a lot, primarily because it's always on TV because of Sancho. So like in the UK, they always show it because Sancho plays for them, so we have to show him because he's English, which is why I actually like, which personally why I like Musiala to join England. I want him to pick England as his nationality because then they'll show every single Bayern game on TV. I know that for a fact.
Yeah. Prince, you're from UK.
I live in the UK.
But are you English?
No, I'm from Germany.
Oh, now I get it. I was wondering. You have so many teams in there. Why do you support the Bayern?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Sancho has been disappointing. He's a little, in my opinion, he's a little bit like Upamecano. We're like, because Sancho has so many transfer links to an English team, people already like view him like 5 levels higher than anyone else. And it's the same thing with Upamecano, where like I feel like Upamecano is not the best Leipzig defender. Konate is a better defender than him, but because Upamecano is linked with all these other teams, people only when they think of Leipzig centre back, they only think of Upamecano. Like, oh yeah, Upamecano was fantastic. He was brilliant. He was amazing. Oh, have you seen what Upamecano did? And then they're like, Konate, who? I don't know him.
No, because you know why? Konate made that one mistake yesterday against Manchester United. So we're just gonna totally blank the dude out. I just do not understand football from nowadays. It's really crazy how we look at football. If this is how it is, because even yesterday I thought Konate was the best player yesterday, and because of one mistake he made, it's like all hell breaks loose. I just don't understand. But go on, sir.
No, that was basically my point. One other thing that I wanted to mention, because we talked about it earlier with like Bayern integrating youth now, the only player that hasn't gotten time so far this season that I think really should have gotten time is Kuhn, who's probably Bayern's most talented midfielder. Kuhn.
I don't know that one.
Sorry, not Kuhn. Torben Rhein. That's who I was thinking of. I don't know how I got that messed up. But yeah, probably Bayern's most talented midfielder, 17 years of age. He's the only one that hasn't really gotten time, which I find a little bit disappointing. Still has gotten time, but Ryan hasn't. Who I think if he gets time, even just a little bit, he could really become like world class. I'd go as far as saying that, which is very interesting because considering you have Musiala, 17, performing that well, so you've got other youngsters coming in as well. In the younger team, I'm not too familiar, to be completely honest. Like anything below like under 17, so I can't really say anything on that.
Could you send me his name or a link of him so I can check about him, because I don't know.
Torben Rhein. I'll send it to you later. But yeah, like in terms of the youth team the youth talent, I should say, that Bayern have, we constantly buying young players, and that is fantastic. Obviously, we saw how successful Dortmund are. We saw how much Dortmund can sell those players for. So we're kind of in that position where like we're giving the young players a chance. If they work out, fantastic. If they don't work out, oh well, we can sell them for a lot of money. And just them being around our other players, they kind of soak up that mentality, and that's the important thing to have. Which I think Barcelona.
Do you think that Zirkzee will ever get play time in Bayern? I mean, he literally. I was shocked how Flick just went for Choupo-Moting as a backup. I thought he was gonna, still play Zirkzee, but what do you think?
Yeah, good question. If this was last season, I would have said yes. If this was last season, I would have said yes, because last season Zirkzee got a lot of time. Every time he came on, he shined, so on and so forth. But this season, you can actually see the limitations on him in terms of the first team, and that is that he doesn't make enough runs. He doesn't run to enough position.
He was good on 2 games.
I think
he played all 3 that he played. So he's good in 2 games out of 3 that he played. I mean, that's
One was against Hoffenheim, I guess, or something like this, and he scored at the last minutes or something like this, and then he disappeared. I mean, everything he did was wrong.
Yeah, I mean he's very much in a similar boat to like Sané this season, whereas like he works if he comes on as like an impact sub, but like if he starts a game, if he's being started, he doesn't really look that great. And the reason for that, in my opinion, is that his runs, his positioning isn't that great. Like he likes to come deep, he likes to play the pass, but then he doesn't go back into the box. And you really gotta, be going back in and back out, helping the team with the back to the goal, receiving that pass, playing it on, but then moving right into the box. And as of right now, he only receives the ball, but he doesn't go back into the box, or he only stays in the box and he doesn't drop deep. So he kind of has to work on, I guess, his decision making. But his finishing is fantastic.
So I think what I would say is there's another player called Arp that is
Yep.
You guys should probably also look at him. I think he's a promising
Well,
player.
we bought him honestly with like the intention of him being a Lewandowski backup, but then like he fell behind Zirkzee, and like Zirkzee got promoted to the first team, and Arp now is the striker for the second team. So
Okay,
I
Prince.
think his attitude is good. That's a good thing.
Okay, Prince, and what do you think about Dantas?
Dantas, I've watched Bayern this season a lot. Obviously, there is massive hype on Dantas. Like even before we signed him, like once the rumors happened, all the Bayern fans were hyped. And I swear, maybe like 2 of those Bayern fans actually ever watched him play. But because like he's called Thiago Dantas, or they're like, oh, Thiago, ooh, Thiago, another Thiago. After we just
Actually, I'm afraid that he's a bit too thin to be enough strong in that, in such intense Bundesliga, physically intense Bundesliga. So I'm wondering.
I think that's where you're wrong. Like he's very, very small. He's almost like a midget. I don't want to say it. He's like 160, 1 meter 60. Like he's tiny. He's very, very small. Even for his age, he's very, very small. But he's very, very aggressive. He's very much like I want to say like a smaller Kimmich, whereas like where he's he'll push you off the ball. Like he'll fight for the ball, but he's not going to win headers.
Okay.
But obviously his biggest strength, in my opinion, I actually record it. Funny enough, like every time there's a Bayern youth team game on, I record them. I've been able to like rewatch them a lot of times. He's very, very good. Like he's very, very talented. Obviously the hype is justified. He's very, very good. Like very, very talented. And the whole thing is like once the whole rumor was like we bought him for him to be like at the youth level for like the first half of the season, and then like after 2021, well after next month basically, he'll play with the first team. That was always the plan.
You think he will be the next Alcantara?
No, I think he'll be the next. If you want me to actually, if you want me to give you a comparison, I think he'd be the next Kimmich.
Oh, that would be great. But the Kimmich is known for being smart.
Yeah. That's basically him, like smart passes, able to distribute it to the wings, very, very good, able to create chances, able to get stuck in, able to fight for every single ball. The only issue I feel like he has right now is, and perhaps it's a bit of a hard thing to say an issue, but it's first of all his height. As I said, he's very, very small, so like he's not going to win many balls that are high in the air or whatnot. It's his height that's lacking, and I'd say his shot. He's in that regard, he's very similar to Thiago Alcantara, where it's like he can spray the ball anywhere on the pitch, but like the second he's in front of the goal, he doesn't know how to connect with the ball. It's like it's kind of crazy. It makes no sense. Like you can do anything everywhere else on the pitch. You could do a backflip and like land perfectly and whatnot, but like the second you're in front of the goal, even open net, it's like, how do you kick the ball? I don't know why. It makes no sense.
Well, if he's a midfielder, well, no. Kimmich knows how to do that. Okay.
Yep. But yeah, that's my opinion on Thiago Dantas.
Okay, thank you. No more questions.
Okay, perfect. BDCore, do you have any questions left, or do you have anything left to say? How was the Champions League campaign? Anything on that? If not, then I'll call it a
How
day
was
on
what?
night.
Sorry,
How
sorry.
was
Say
the
it again.
Champions League campaign? Any team that stood out to you or not? If not, then I'll call it a day. But if you think there are any particular team that stood out, let me know.
Oh, so I just want to know, are you gonna do this again, or?
Yes, that was also my question.
Yeah.
I will try and do these more consistently. I most certainly will try to. Ideally, I want to do these like after every Champions League game, or also after every Bundesliga match day. So like maybe like every
Okay.
Monday. But
Okay.
I can't say that definitively because it all depends on my schedule, and my schedule basically changes from day to day. So like, despite the
I
fact that
agree.
I would like to do
Just
these
like me.
once a week, despite the
Just
fact that
like
I would
me.
like to do these, yeah, it's one of those things when you like, because I basically work freelance. So like, one week I might have no work and I'll have free time all week, and then another week I might be full with work every single day. So it kind of just
Yeah,
depends on my schedule.
that's me too. Actually, that's me
It
too.
sucks, but it's
Yeah.
great.
Do we get a notification? Do we get noticed when?
Yeah, I'll always post it on Twitter. You can
Oh,
you can leave me your link. You can just DM me, and I'll create maybe a group or something, and then I'll just post a link there in the group, and then I'll post it in the chat all the time as well once I'm live, as I did
I
today.
Yeah.
have not.
I
I have
think
not
we
Twitter, but
should.
I'm on your channel on YouTube.
I think
All right.
we should chat on Twitter. I I really like this thing that we're doing, but I actually used to do live streams too, and I just stopped because I don't have enough time to do it. Usually, my schedule too goes like the same way like how Bayern fan TV schedule goes. Usually the whole week I'll be working. So, but what I will say about Champions League, okay, hmm, uh, I to be honest, um, I think that this Champions League, I can only see one winner, and I can see it being Bayern Munich.
You're just
No,
gonna be back in the street. That's what you're saying. That.
no. Listen, I just think that I don't know what team can really beat them. Like I understand that like all the team, like, okay, I understand what PSG is trying to do. Understand Liverpool, okay, fair enough. But aside from Liverpool and PSG, what other team can really beat Bayern? Barcelona.
Juventus.
Oh come on, no, not Juventus. I give you, I'll give you PSG on the good day. I give you Liverpool. I give you even Manchester City just because of our record. But I can't give you Juventus. I cannot
Why?
give you Juventus.
Why?
They're terrible. They are actually terrible. They have one or two good games, but then
Yeah.
they're terrible.
No. I think the thing about Juventus is too many
They have
loopholes.
experienced guys.
There's too many loopholes in that Juventus team, and because there's too many loopholes, and you have a rookie manager like Pirlo, I just don't know what their ambition is really this season. Let me just go over all the teams quickly. For Barcelona, I just think that for Barcelona, the same issue has been appearing for ages, where they're constantly over relying on Messi, and Messi has just been the guy who has to build them out every single now and then. You know what I'm trying to say? So I just don't think they can do it either. Real Madrid, I just think Real Madrid need to get a goal scorer in the summer. Get a goal scorer, whether it be Mbappe. I think Haaland is a Madrid boy, but they need to get a goal scorer, to be honest. And yeah, I think Bayern has really impressed me. I think the way Bayern has showed me like that they can Bayern and Leipzig. I think Leipzig has shocked me really because I didn't know that Nagelsmann was that great of a manager. I'm trying to say to start with because I started knowing how Nagelsmann played yesterday because of the game he played, and I was like, this guy is a serious manager. Like, I'm still shocked how Dortmund didn't go for him.
Future Bayern manager.
Yeah, well, I mean, if he goes to Bayern, that's another one of those trouble seasons right there. But,
What are you doing with Flick?
yeah,
Flick can manage Germany in 5 years or so, or 6 years, or 7 years.
The only three managers I think can compete with Flick is Nagelsmann and Klopp.
Yep.
These are only managers in the UCL who can compete with Flick. I don't know who else can compete with Flick. You know what I'm trying to say? It's not like Mourinho's in the CL. It's not
Mourinho is doing a great job with Tottenham.
He is, but he's not in the CL. If he was in the CL, I would have said, oh, okay, maybe he had a chance against Hansi Flick or something like that. But
yeah, Mourinho is like the anti fun, but the super pragmatic. It works.
Exactly.
And that's why, like, I would not want to play Tottenham. Like, I know we beat Tottenham, so on and so forth, and on paper we're significantly better than them. But he's the Simeone, the original Simeone.
You see, and someone like that, he would have been one of the people that you look to cause an upset to Bayern. But he's not in the Champions League, so it's like I think Bayern and Leipzig has really impressed, and I wouldn't be shocked if this season is the Bundesliga Champions League finals.
Ooh, I hope so.
It can be Bayern versus Leipzig. I'm being dead serious because I'm just looking at the other teams and I just don't know what they've really improved on.
If they don't meet before.
Yeah.
That's true. But yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. I've said like 10 times already that I want to end this.
It's okay.
Thank you, Prince, for inviting.
Yeah.
All right. So for all of you still listening, first of all, thank you very much for being here. I will see all of you in the next one. As I said, I want to do these more regular, so I'll always post a link in the description. Sorry, not in the description. I'll always post the link in the chat, so anyone wants to join, you're always welcome to. But yeah, that was our full discussion. The full thing will be up on YouTube. I think basically once YouTube has finished editing and rendering and whatnot and uploading it. So the whole 3 hours and 10 minutes or so of this stream, this discussion on the Champions League, with all the various guests that we've had on here, will be up later on YouTube. Besides that, though, someone will see you all in the next one, everyone. And as always, have a nice day. Peace out and good.
Oh, yeah, and can I say something? I'm sorry.
Yes. Absolutely, go ahead.
Yes. So guys, please follow my channel. We're trying to reach 300. Yep. I post videos every Monday. And I'm just a realistic Dortmund fan. I'm not reactionary. I'm just realistic. Who just wants my team to win a flipping trophy. That's all I want. So yeah, please follow my channel, and we're trying to reach 300. Add a like and subscribe. Thank you.
There you go. If you've liked what BDCO had to say on this discussion, know that obviously he is a Dortmund fan. But if you've liked anything that he's had to say, go check out his channel, which I'll have linked in the comment section as well once this video is up on YouTube. Nabaldi, anything you want to say?
Just thank you, and we'll be pleased to hear from you again.
All right, perfect.
And wish you a very good night and have a good day. Very good night.
Thank you. Thank you. And with that, I think we'll call it a day, a night, a morning. and most certainly stream. Peace out, everyone, and
Peace
have a
out.
nice day.
Bye.
I see.